Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 234. It's me. It's my teenage son, Jack, and co-host back down in the basement. On Saturday, January 11th, we're going to talk about another week of wrestling after we chat about non-wrestling things for a little bit. More wrestling than usual this week, right? We actually watched some New Japan.
Or like 3 times a year that we'll do it.
Right. 3 times a year. Didn't watch everything, but cherry-picked a few things that we watched. Some good, some bad. We'll get to that. Obviously, a big week of Raw, their debut on Netflix. I took the bullet on that one. You watched a little bit, not a lot. I watched all of it.
Yeah, I went from saying, oh yeah, maybe I'll watch it, till then I heard too much about it, and I was like, okay, I'll watch the main event.
You made a wise decision because I watched it all.
I know.
So we'll discuss that. We'll always talk about AEW Dynamite, NXT. Anything else? Any SmackDown today that you saw?
No, but I got other NXT.
I saw like a 20-second Jacob Fatu yelling into the camera from SmackDown. It was pretty cool.
I saw him get tossed out the building by LA Knight.
Nice.
And, I mean, I saw someone say that him and Tama Tonga should oust Solo since he lost. And then Fatu takes over.
Can we just stop the bloodline stuff? Seriously?
That's never going to happen.
Apparently. And there's just too many of them to keep replenishing. Even if people retire, there's another 20 ready to go. But
there's so many that they haven't even taken. They still haven't debuted Tonga.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd give it a chance if Fatu's leading just because I love Fatu.
I'd love Fatu
And
as
we
well.
were saying he should have been Solo.
But he should be the leader of like an evil one because he's like unhinged and crazy. Right?
That's what they were trying to pitch with Solo, but
Doesn't
it
work.
just didn't
He
work.
is not it, man.
He's not.
Yeah, you could see it even in the match when, anyways, we'll talk about it at Raw.
Oh, wait, I did watch that.
You did. You watched a little bit. You watched a couple matches.
I don't remember why I watched
And I'm sure
that.
you saw Hulk Hogan on there, which we'll get to as well.
I think I did catch that.
One of the highlights of the show, frankly. But anyways, I would say
Take
winter
that soundbite.
winter has arrived, hey, in Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
Like we're talking minus 15 to 20 Celsius on the regular this past week. So that's been nice.
Ridiculous.
Nice for you to have your license because you can still go out and do stuff during lunch and on your spare at school without freezing to death.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your brother had a high school basketball tournament yesterday. I was coaching that. They won their pool, beat an undefeated team, but then we lost in the semis, which was probably a winnable game, but that's okay. And he's got his rep basketball continues this weekend. Game tonight down in Toronto somewhere. Game tomorrow. Late game. So I kind of like that. Allows us to record. You've got to work, but not till later this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So you got some free time. Anything new and going on in your life? You're
no.
Coming up on exams.
I guess
Excited?
so, yeah.
How many do you have?
3.
3? Yeah, that's about it. Anything else exciting? I see your figure choices today. You've got the Bloodline. As we complain about them, you've got them set up.
Well, I've got your Raw set up. I just don't have Punk.
You do have the Raw set up.
I don't have Punk, Ripley, or Morgan, so I decided
I thought
to
you had a
forego
Punk.
those. We have like an old basic one, but
yeah,
that's about it.
That you got from a friend of mine, I think, right? Because
I could get a new basic Punk. So I was telling you, I saw the couple versions of Punk at our Walmart, but I didn't get them yet.
He gets no money from our family.
Yeah, I might just because why not? But
I just heard he I don't know what he tributed the match to Chris Bay or something.
Yeah, he was doing some promo. I think it was either after the one.
I think it was post.
Showing off air.
Yeah, post.
Yeah. I saw a bit of it. Yeah, he did mention Chris Bay.
Yeah, I saw some
about how great he is or not how great Bay is, but Punk.
I'm such a cynic for Punk that I'm like, he calculated that.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, he doesn't actually care. He just said it because he knows he should say it.
I don't know. It's a typical Punk thing, He's
hopefully it's
still
sincere.
the best in the world. He's so great because he's still got it. He still won. Whatever.
And I heard part of that speech was also too like, it's too bad his body is declining because now he fully understands wrestling and blah blah blah.
Yada yada yada.
He's so wise now. But anyways, we are extremely biased to assume everything he does is calculated.
I mean, compared to Jeff Jarrett, he's still got it.
Yeah, we'll get to that as well. I did see you got some Star Wars figure somewhere. I guess you went to the mall.
Yeah, during school yesterday.
Some one-armed person I don't know.
Dagon Gara, baby.
And speaking of Star Wars, I will say I'm enjoying Skeleton Crew
We actually
more.
finally caught up, on Tuesday. Guess that's worth noting.
It's gotten away from just kids roaming around to like interacting with other people and doing things, so it's gotten more interesting for me for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got the finale. I think it is next.
Wait, there's like one left, right?
I was saying to a guy at work, I don't know what show's in the pipeline now.
No, I don't know.
I know the Mando movie's coming, but that's next year.
Is this one getting another season? Probably.
Considering people didn't dunk on it, yeah.
Yet, I guess. Yeah, that's good. Has it been well received? I haven't really looked at anything.
Like
Okay, good.
I'm glad it's getting well received because the reception of the Acolyte kind of bothered me because I feel like a lot of people didn't give it a chance. And
Yeah.
They're too fixated on the outside factors.
Well, even the Skeleton Crew, if I had just watched the first two, I probably would have stopped. But I know some of my favorite shows took me like 4 episodes to get into, so
I mean, Office isn't that great.
I
at the
give it
beginning.
time. Even I was thinking we should get you into Seinfeld, and I would probably skip all of season 1 and start maybe mid season 2, and then once you like it, you go back because you don't need to.
You've seen that, I think, when we watched New Girl too. It wasn't as good in the first season. It always takes a bit to find its footing, right?
And I think Parks and Rec, they pretty much rebooted it on season 2,
which is kind of what The Office did too. It's just their first season's really short, so it's like you can kind of just do it anyways.
So I'm awaiting the Australian Office to put out their season 2. It's supposed to be coming in 2025. So I enjoyed the first. I just wish they would do more than whatever it was, 7 episodes or something.
Maybe that's just their first season because, like I said, that's what American did, right?
Yes, they did. It was just quick to see if people like it. And I think there was not money plans to have it carry on, but people were like, no, this is cool.
Yeah.
Right? Because either you get it or you don't, I think, right? So they were sort of concerned people wouldn't like it, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I don't know. I don't have anything else to talk about. Do you?
No.
All right, you never do, so I don't know why I ask, but I do. Just in case there's someday you have something to say.
Sometimes I do.
I don't
Most
have
of the time
to
I don't.
initiate this not so great banter, but hopefully we get into the stuff we do better, which is talking about wrestling. We'll do that right now. We'll start by taking a look at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, so ratings are crazy this week. NXT, apparently The Rock is still a draw because
People are idiots.
NXT averaged 957,000 viewers, almost a million.
Too many things.
That is up 52.9% and a 0.25 in the key demographic, which is up, I think, 66.7%. So massive numbers. I don't know if it's the best they've ever done. I would think maybe. I don't know if they've ever done a million before. It didn't show up in my research.
I would say it has to be at least the best in like recent memory, maybe since the 2.0 rebrand. Because maybe I want to say Black and Gold probably hit a decent high at some point.
I can't remember.
I don't even know. It's not worth double checking.
It is not, but that is crazy numbers for them. And Dynamite was solid. They were 615,000 viewers, so up 4.6. Key demo, not great, 0.17. Down 6.3. So high viewership, but low demo numbers. So I don't know what that means, but that's what we got this week. Your turn.
My turn. What I have to scroll back up. That's great.
You weren't ready? You've been so busy?
Well, to kind of relate to our main roster bullcrap is that WWE has become a minority owner of Real American Beer and logo to be featured on ring mat.
Gee, who could have guessed?
There's that. The Fortnite logo's on there, which is horrible. Netflix's logo's on there, which is fair. If it was just a ring mat with Netflix logo in there, I would kind of not like it, but I'd understand it.
Yeah.
Just now that it's like, I think the black mat's kind of weird. I always like the white mat. I like the black mat in Black and Gold NXT because that was like their thing.
Yeah.
But I don't like it here. And then all the UFCification of the ring mat is an eyesore, 100%.
Well, I tell you, those Real Americans in Los Angeles were certainly not supporting any Real American beer. That's for sure. They were not a fan of it.
So now we got that. We got Prime Hydration. C4 is their energy drink. They're covering all their bases. They'll get sponsored by a coffee brand soon.
You'll be hydrated very well.
All liquids all the time. In every regard, even like sort of water somehow.
Well, it looks like the New Japan mat. They've got lots of stuff on there.
But theirs has always been like, I feel like theirs has always been like that, and it's also
I think it has
Japanese crap. So it's like I don't notice it as much. And for me, it's just like they've always like WWE's not done it for so long that it's just such an eyesore.
You can't not focus on it. I don't even notice really, but you are detailed.
Fortnite in the middle of the ring.
I don't really notice.
That's ridiculous.
After like seeing it for 12 seconds, I'm like,
Seth Rollins got pinned on a Fortnite logo.
Didn't even notice. Spoiler. Corey Graves is back on NXT commentary.
It's for the first time since 2017, I think.
And it's reportedly temporary, with plans to have him rejoin main roster during football season because I think Tessitore, right, goes back and does football stuff.
Hopefully McAfee goes back because screw you.
The interest watching him and Michael Cole dance on top of the announce table was something else.
That's why I don't watch Raw.
But it looks like basically then they chose Barrett over Graves, right? Because one of the two of them was going to stay, and Barrett stayed, and Graves is back. So
I like Barrett.
So now we've got a 3-man booth on NXT, which in a perfect world means Booker T gets to say a lot less because, boy, oh boy. As you'll see when our worst of comes up if I get around to doing it. But it's a busy time of year for me, so it might be a little bit delayed. But anyways, so yeah, Graves is back. Used to think he was amazing. Then he got
main rostered.
What I would call main rostered and WWE-ified. And then he becomes like the rest of them when you've got someone in your ear telling you to be the same as everybody
that's
else.
Hopefully kind of a thing in the past.
I hope so.
Right? So maybe we'll see.
Because he was really good when he came up. He was just fresh and different. And then people got in his ear and told him what to do, and it was not great. But anyways, we'll see.
The first time he's been on a 3-man booth with Booker, the 2017 Raw team.
Right.
Was them. And Booker, I hated him back then.
Shucky ducky.
I remember sometimes he'd go like, and I thought he was like trying to force out a crap.
One of the things that's starting to bother me is that he makes some subtle and not so subtle comments about the attractiveness of women who are like 3 decades younger than him, probably. And I don't know, man. That's just not.
Especially in that company.
It's not something I appreciate. I'll say that much.
Especially in that company.
Yeah. But anyways, what else you got?
Apparently, AEW's TV deal with Max is reportedly the reason as to why they didn't really promote Wrestle Dynasty, which was kind of weird. Like I was saying to you, it didn't feel like
Dynasty.
No.
Yes.
I was saying to you, there's a stark contrast between Wrestle Dynasty and Forbidden Door.
There is.
In terms of importance feeling. Because like New Japan,
it's just because New Japan's not that important right now. Feels like.
Yeah, but regardless, they send their top guys to Forbidden Door, and AEW didn't send a lot of them.
No,
I think the most relevant guys maybe Ricochet.
Well, Takeshita, or that wasn't Dynasty. That was the other.
He was
one?
on both.
Yeah,
I guess Takeshita. Yeah,
How
but
dare
that's
you
because he's
forget him.
signing there. Oh, I guess that's news too. Takeshita's signed.
Yeah, or
New
has
Japan.
some sort of agreement or whatever with them.
I don't like that. They're gonna take him from me.
I mean, I know, but I'm happy because if he was homesick, as was part of the reports, right?
No,
it's
I'm
nice
selfish.
That he selfishly do not let him travel.
Do not. I mean, Takeshita does have 2 belts, so that's
He does.
something nice about that.
He does.
But if they poach Takeshita, I will burn New Japan to the ground.
Wow, that's a threat.
That is a threat.
Clearly, they're listening too or watching now.
It's on site.
I think we might get. I don't know if we get more people watching than listening now. Now that we've put so much YouTube stuff up, I forget to sometimes check just the audio stuff.
Yeah.
It's probably still more audio people.
But yeah, I don't remember the exact specifics on the article I was looking at, but something about I would assume it's something with Warner or Max or whatever.
Yeah.
Not wanting them to promote a pay-per-view that's not on their dime, you know what I mean?
I'm sure.
I'm assuming it's something like that. I don't remember exactly what I read because I didn't really want to write down all the specifics, but I do remember being something like that.
I'm sure it is.
Which kind of makes sense because they only really recapped it a little bit on Dynamite too. Like it really wasn't a factor. It was really non-canon in the scope of AEW, even though it's Omega's big return match,
right?
Which we'll talk about.
We will talk about that one for sure. But we just finished that before we came down.
The fact that that's like a big thing, and that's not really even mentioned. I remember even one time on Contrary, it might have been last week or the week before, they're like, we don't know when Omega's coming back, and he's literally coming back on this big pay-per-view that you're not talking about.
Maybe they can't acknowledge it because he was a heel over there.
I don't know. At parts I feel like he was, and then at parts I feel like he wasn't.
He's kicking young boys and stuff.
Yeah.
Jumping on referees.
The parts where he was, but I don't know. It didn't completely feel like it to me.
So an update on Rush and Dralistico's TV absence. And I was kind of like, what, for the last year and a half? Or you know what I mean? Like, because they imply that it's a current thing, but I haven't seen either of them in forever.
In the article I saw, and the last time I remember seeing them was when we had the tag title match qualifiers. Remember, there was the 3 matches, and there was the 4-way at Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last time I remember seeing them. And we didn't even watch that because their match was on Collision. That's just the last time I remember seeing them advertised, not watching them myself.
Did you hear what it was allegedly for?
Yes, I think.
That they sort of took liberties with an opponent following a match. So I forget who it was, an enhancement talent on a Rampage show. Apparently a medic was attending to the guy and they just kept beating on him. So,
oh well.
And the Observer is suggesting that Rush and Dralistico, that's tough to say, originally were set to be part of a tag team title match at Full Gear, but were removed following that.
That makes sense, because I was saying to you, remember that was the one where Outrunners and House of Black got in, and then I was like, it'd be really cool if LFI got in, we could revamp the tag division.
That was supposed to.
Not only did we not get that, but I'd argue the tag division did not get much of a revamp.
It certainly did not. And it looks like Private Party is going to be losing those titles pretty soon.
That kind of sucks.
I think.
I mean, I'll talk about it.
Could be wrong. We'll get there.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kota Ibushi, more on Wrestle Dynasty, was apparently refused entry into the Tokyo Dome for that. He was, I think, gonna be ringside for Omega because obviously
So he is alive.
Gabe Kidd had War Dogs with him, right?
He did.
He had Connors and Maloney
swearing their guts out that whole match. Kind of funny. I think it kind of adds to it a little bit.
It's pretty fun. I definitely.
So many F-bombs throughout
I know the thing. It's like, oh, swearing makes you so cool. It did kind of make them cool.
It did kind of make it cool.
So that's the thing.
And I'm a non-cursing person generally.
With Ibushi, I do know there was a lot of controversy, I'll say, when he was exiting New Japan. Because remember, I don't know if you ever saw, he was like tweeting stuff about something about the working conditions there or something like that. I remember
he would though.
He exited under some sort of cloud. I remember. And so maybe there's still stuff there. I don't know.
Could be.
Because it's not like.
I was just asking you if he was still alive like an hour ago.
Yeah, he got injured in a match in Japan. I think
seems to happen a lot.
Marufuji.
Seems to happen a lot to that guy. It's too bad. Peak Ibushi was crazy, but
even I keep seeing the clips of him versus Cedric in the C2, not the C2, the CWC.
Yeah.
Then that's crazy because that was like 2016, so that would have been when he was still junior heavyweight Ibushi.
Wow, that's now like 9 years ago.
Yeah, hence why he was, I guess, in that tournament.
That's wild.
I do remember even watching that. That was probably. I wish that had come on a little later in my wrestling fan experience, because then I feel like I'd like to. Now that we don't have the network, I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
I know.
Because I would go rewatch that.
Yeah,
I think it'd be interesting.
It was fun.
Because I think that came too soon for me.
PW Insider reporting that WWE executives are exploring the idea of a match between World Heavyweight Champion Gunther and Logan Paul for WrestleMania 41. So I got really nervous because if you're Netflix, who do you want as your champion, Gunther or Logan Paul? Right?
Yeah.
I imagine some of these executives are not big wrestling people and are like, hey, I recognize one name and I don't recognize the other. And the one I recognize has mainstream appeal and the other one doesn't.
Either that or they go back to like Roman or something.
After watching Raw this week on Netflix, I have concerns that this product is going to change in terms of doing things to please people who aren't wrestling fans, executives at Netflix.
Wasn't that part of a problem in WCW too, when like Jim Herd was running things, right? And he wasn't a wrestling guy.
You're more the historian.
Because remember there's the whole issue with Ric Flair in like 91.
Yeah.
Where Herd wanted him to cut his hair and go by Spartacus.
Yeah, that's right.
He also came up with the Ding Dongs who had bells. Oh, one of his ideas.
You will not sit in my studio and disparage the Ding Dongs. How dare you?
One of his ideas was the Hunchbacks because their shoulders can't be pinned to the mat.
That's genius. And you're saying that's not genius? How dare you?
And so there's the whole thing where he fired Flair when Flair is world champion, but Flair has the possession of the physical big gold belt.
Yeah.
And I think this was still when they weren't fully split from the NWA. And so the NWA's thing was the champion would have to put down a $25,000 deposit.
Sure. So that
they wouldn't run away with the belt.
Right.
Right. And Flair had been champion in and out so many times, he never collected it. So then he was like getting charged by any of those. That's when he appeared on WWF, being the real world's champion, right? And he had the big gold with him. And anyways, like in the past, when inexperienced people are running or heading the ship for a wrestling company, it doesn't tend to work. Or there's all the Turner executives, right, in WCW that are looking down on the product. And
that's right.
You got to imagine there's some Netflix people looking down on this
guaranteed
half-rate wrestling thing.
And so their thing will be pull in celebrities, pull in
Cena,
mainstream people, pull in your reach into the past and get us people that we actually know.
Brother.
Which is all evident on the first episode. Hopefully it's not
celebrities like in your face constantly.
Yes, definitely. So hopefully it doesn't continue, but
I could see then. I definitely think. I mean, we'll do picks eventually, but I feel like the front runner to win the Rumble is definitely Cena.
Based on what happened on Raw, yeah, I would say so.
Even before that, I assume. But now it's like, if it's his last run, you could have him as world champion for a decent part of the year. And if he challenges Cody, he won't be on Raw, I guess. But still, they'll probably have him run on both shows anyways, right?
Yeah.
So then to have
because the portal's open, so they can just go anywhere, anytime.
Cena as champion on Netflix, I feel like that's gonna be like they're gonna be like, oh, everyone knows John Cena, or they'll go back to Roman.
Yes.
Like I said.
And now Rock and Cody are buddies now.
They'll do Rock. Yeah,
They
because
hug it out all the time now.
it's not Rock disregarding kayfabe and doing what he wants. He's just 20 steps ahead. Remember that when he does something completely stupid and
Right.
random, he's 20 steps ahead and he's smarter than you, jabroni.
Well, he was definitely not the
No,
final boss for a lot
He
of this.
is 20 steps ahead. He is the final boss.
Could be,
okay?
I guess.
He is 20 steps ahead of you always.
Always. I think it's your turn.
Is it?
I
don't
only have
even.
one.
I
I
lost
only have
track.
one more.
My last one is the Von Erichs have signed with AEW.
Gross. I mean, maybe they've gotten better, but when I've seen them, their last 2 or 3 times I've seen them, I was thoroughly unimpressed.
What belts did they hold?
ROH something?
Yep.
Trios.
Yep. Good
Yes.
job.
So smart I am.
We'll play the rest of the game. Who are the tag champs? They were on the pre-show for Wrestle Dynasty.
Oh, yeah, the Texas whatever.
Yeah, okay, I'll give that to you.
Sammy Guevara.
Women's TV.
Women's TV. Red Velvet?
Okay, good job. So far, we're doing good. Athena is a pass.
Yeah.
World Champion's a pass.
Yeah.
Because we know that one.
Yeah.
Pure Champion.
Still Moriarty?
Yeah.
I'm killing it now.
And then I think it's TV Champion.
If you're new, this is a recurring thing because I don't remember anything. And why would anyone remember Ring of Honor?
TV
anything?
Champion, I think, is the last one.
Don't know.
You should know, actually.
I should know?
You should.
TV Champion. I don't know.
Commander.
Oh, right.
Because I didn't even watch that match.
Right,
you did.
Right.
That's the funny part. Anyways.
I think I liked that match, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
They have been absent since the pectoral tear took out Marshall for like 4 months, which bothers me because they're still champions. Clearly, these belts mean nothing since they're not vacant.
Obviously, they mean nothing.
But it begs the question why last year Bang Bang Gang had to vacate the belts when they had them, when Switchblade also got injured.
Here we go.
Because they had a guy to fill in.
He's been activated.
They had a guy to fill in. So it's like, these guys don't have a fill-in, Dustin and Von Erichs, but they're like, oh no, keep the belts. But the Bang Bang Gang, Switchblade gets injured. They have a guy to fill in.
ROH
But it's like,
thrives on irony. You just don't get it.
Vacate the belts.
10 steps ahead.
And it's weird that remember that Bang Bang Gang unified the belts with the AEW ones when they beat the Acclaimed, and then they split the belts. So like, why'd you unify them?
Right. There's some questionable stuff going on there.
Highly questionable.
Last thing I have, we sort of witnessed it as we were watching the Omega Gabe Kidd match, that New Japan commentator Chris Charlton has been suspended for, he had some like anti-AEW and Tony Khan remarks during the pay-per-view.
He was just very amped about them taking their talent.
It was like, I was telling you, if there were some sort of invasion angle, or if even it was like an animosity.
If it's like Nigel at Danielson where there's like a long game here.
Right. But this was, no, the companies are just working together. So he called Tony Khan a money mark at one point. We heard that one specifically. And I didn't catch that, but I guess another one was he talked about how, like, oh, they've taken talent like Okada and
I did
Ospreay
catch him talking
and done
about
nothing
that.
with them. And I think he talked down the C2 as well a little bit.
I did not notice that.
How it pales in, it might have been earlier in the show, right?
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I did think it was weird. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it is kind of odd.
And yeah,
I can understand
didn't
the
make
sentiment.
sense.
I can understand the sentiment because they've been absolutely scorched by
And I think it was like
talent exodus.
he was trying to come from a place of I'm loyal to New Japan,
I can get that,
but he went a little far, I guess.
He seemed a little more like, I don't know if butthurt's the right word, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
you know what I mean. He seemed
they
like
keep taking our talent and doing nothing with them. Is his?
That's what I'm
perspective.
saying. Like he kind of it came down as too derogatory of AEW.
Yes, and clearly that was the problem.
Right, like you could have talked up how all those talents made New Japan great, and then they're maybe struggling a bit because they're all gone, and not talking down what they're doing in another company that you're working with. Right, it'd be like TNA. Like Hannah Fan comes on when they poach like Hendry Alexander. It's like they took Joe Hendry Alexander. Now look what they've done there. You know,
Yeah.
It's like they haven't done shit.
I think he would have been better off to go the angle of like those guys left to make way for new stars. But it kind of sounded like he was saying
we need
like,
them.
They took them away and the cupboard's bare now, right?
Which is a huge diss to guys like Gabe Kidd, who's
I'm
right
not
there.
saying it's not true.
To Umino, to Tsuji.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even saying it's not true, but that's not something you want to draw attention to when it's already so glaringly obvious.
I'm now kind of a believer in Gabe Kidd, right? After recent events. So I think he's somebody they could be working with.
I mean, between that and I
like
thought his
Tsuji.
performance.
Umino, on the other hand, we'll get to
Umino's
that.
good, but like he just lacks something, I think.
He does.
Gabe Kidd, I think he's good. I think this match was a nice coming out party. I never watched the match where he injured Eddie Kingston, but I heard that was really good too. And then I thought he had a good showing in that dog pound cage match.
He did. That match was fun.
That match was pretty crazy. I missed that. That was I would consider watching that again. It's just it's a commitment.
It is a commitment. You said you were done, right?
Yeah.
I'm done. Done with the news, done with the rumors, moving into some in-depth analysis of some weekly wrestling. It's what we start with all the time. It's taking a look at AEW Dynamite. I'll drink coffee. You talk about Dynamite.
Dynamite. I'm really thrilled with the opener. When they announced it, I was like, oh man.
Happy to hear it was coming and did not disappoint.
Yeah, Will Ospreay versus Buddy Matthews. I was
Mhm.
just wrote like I'm grateful for this match existing. To contrast this to what Raw chose to give us, is crazy to me.
If you contrast the pace of this to the pace of the, what's it called? What's the rules
Tribal
of
combat.
the tribal combat? It is wild.
It's so boring.
Well, and it's funny because Roman can kind of pull off that super slow style because of his charisma and his presence and his star
But Solo
power.
lacks that.
And then Solo tries to do it too, and it's just like you're just a guy working super slow.
Yeah.
So it doesn't anyway.
Well, it sucks because Roman can go if he wants to go. It's
He
just,
can.
he
And
doesn't
sometimes
anymore.
his slow style doesn't bother me. I never like love it. I'm never going to be like, this is a 4.5 star match, but it works with his presence and character. But anyways,
Yeah, he has the gravitas.
this is the opposite of that.
This is thankfully the opposite. Ospreay with the slingshot punch to the outside. Matthews the snapmare followed by a hard kick to the back, which we saw live once.
We did.
Then a PK and a knee drop for 2. Crossbody collision leaves them both men down. Springboard forearm from Ospreay for 2. Using Styles' finisher and people kicking out of it. Well, why were we talking about that?
Because it happened with Rollins and Punk.
Right.
Multiple times.
Yeah. I'll talk about that later if I remember, because obviously the Tribalists are they come after Ospreay sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
Lumbar check from Matthews. There's another finisher.
Mm-hmm.
That is a sweet move though. I do love the lumbar check. Shout out to Cedric Alexander again.
Yep.
It's a sweet move.
Good name too.
Yeah, End of Heartache's better.
Yeah, it is.
But similar idea. Diving Meteor from Matthews for 2, and I was saying to you, way better than Monet.
It's not hard.
It's not, but he does.
And she gets more reps in, so she should be good at it.
That's
she's doing
true.
7 or 8
So,
a match.
I'm just saying, you know.
I still diss her, even though her last few matches have been excellent. I'm still like, my brand is mocking what used to be my favorite women's wrestlers. But anyways.
Great strike exchange on the apron. Then Matthews blocks an Oz cutter attempt and throws Ospreay into the announce table.
Mm-hmm.
Ospreay seated on a chair in the corner of the barricade. Matthews gets a run up and it's a pump knee. Goes for it again. Ospreay catches him with a super kick and an Oz cutter. I said off the apron. I think I meant off the barricade. I will again.
Wow.
I'm gonna fix it
For no apparent reason. Even though you'll never go back and look at these notes, they must be correct. I'm the same way.
It has to be
so
accurate.
Stupid.
Has to be.
I know. I do
has
too.
to be proper. Ospreay hit a coast to coast as Matthews got back in the ring, followed with an Oz cutter for 2. And probably my favorite sequence, Matthews caught an Oz cutter, then got him up in like a torture rack, hit like an inverted GTS, which is crazy looking, and a curb stomp for a near fall.
Looked better than the real GTS.
It basically just disowned Rollins and Punk in one
shot.
swoop.
That's true.
The curb stomp I like though, because he was Rollins' dude for a while, right?
Yeah.
So that I like as like kind of a reference to. It's kind of like a Rollins uses the pedigree,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mhm.
that I get people like, oh, kick out, whatever, but at least it makes sense he's using it. The inverted GTS is just cool, so Punk can suck
It was
it.
really cool.
Styles clash for 2 from Ospreay, so there's another one. And then a hidden blade from Ospreay for the win. After the match, Ospreay grabs the mic, tells him to give it up for Matthews. He says he's admired him from afar and wrestled Brody. He says both of them don't need to be following a leader, and he can see gold in Matthews' future. He says hopefully it's not the last time they meet, and he'll be in his corner if need be.
So I'll talk about the post-match stuff first. I liked it. I thought, like, again, this is Ospreay being a team player. And
apparently Malachi's on the way out.
And that's how
like,
it makes sense, right?
Actually, though, because remember, this isn't the first time those rumors have come up.
Oh boy, Malachi Black is going to take to social media and talk about how awful we all are for suggesting this.
I do remember seeing last time his rumored to be done, his contract was up earlier this year.
Yeah.
And now we're here, so
better be right, because he's going to be all over us.
He's expected to return to the E.
Yes, I would
he would peg him for the Rumble.
His wife's there. I don't blame him.
Yeah, and like
I worked with my wife for 20 years,
and it sucks.
No, it's great.
And he didn't do a lot in main roster, but he also hasn't done much in AEW either.
No, he hasn't. And he's awesome. I don't know what it is about him, but he is cool.
I
But
think Matthews and Brody are definitely more
so
pliable though.
so I like the post-match pep talk that Ospreay gave. It's nice he's sort of like the best wrestler in the world is talking about how good this guy is and that if he ever needs him, he's got his back sort of thing. They'd be a crazy tag team. I know you don't want to probably go with Ospreay in a tag team, but imagine and just have
Yeah.
them have a crazy run.
Or just elevate Matthews. I know he's not the greatest promo, but some of the other guys aren't, and you could also just give
Tether
him
him
a
to
manager.
Ospreay. Ospreay can talk.
I would just give Matthews a manager or something. Or
Yeah.
honestly, the fact that he's not a beast in the Callis group or something,
I know.
like that feels like a slam dunk to me.
Anyways, the match was awesome. It's one of those ones where Buddy Matthews is never winning, but the pace and the quality of what's going on is enough. You just forget about it and enjoy the match, right? Matthews is incredible.
I've always loved him.
He got a ton here. I just wish he was a better character, and I thought he looked like $1 million. And Ospreay gets a quality win because he's trying to get out of his "I kind of lose too much" storyline, right?
Mhm.
So great opener, I thought.
I liked when they build him as like the juggernaut in the cruiserweight division
Mhm.
because he is.
He is. He 100% is.
He's so sick.
I thought a great start to the show.
Yeah. Great match to start us off. I was excited the second this was announced because this is just the kind of stuff I like. Fantastic opener. Both of them are super killer, and I'm particularly happy, like you said, Matthews got to look like $1 million. Ospreay's great as usual, but Matthews killed it. He even got close near fall, and that reverse GTS was gnarly. I was disappointed the post match promo. Like I thought it was gonna be that, and then he would get to Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
But still, Ospreay's a class act. I hope what he said about Black does spark something, because I would love more for Brody and especially Matthews. Like I think Brody's great, but I've always been a huge Buddy Murphy fan.
He should be a guy that's in the C2 just putting on killer performances and winning a couple matches,
I think he could be a decent mid card champion
Me
at
too.
some point. I'm never
I do too.
expecting Matthews to hit the top of the
No.
card, but I hope he does more because I think he's amazing. I've always loved his work.
In ring, he's undeniably fantastic.
Always been
I would
fantastic.
say.
He was as good of a successor to King of the Cruiserweights Neville as we could have
Yes.
had because he was the year after, right?
Yes.
And that was kind of his prime, and so I do miss that version of Buddy Murphy.
Mm-hmm. He's great.
Before he got main rostered and discipled.
That's right.
And I hope he gets some marquee match on the Australia show because he's more than deserving.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fletcher's made matches, Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope we get something for Matthews, like start building a program for him. Even if I know Ospreay said they could do single stuff. He also mentioned tag gold. Like if we want to just run Matthews and King as a tag team, I'm more than okay with that. They can get away from the House of Blackstick and just do their own thing.
And then they can turn on each other at
Brody
some point
can talk
and have a great feud then if you want.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of money they'd be kind of an interesting Haas tag team. And since they've been kind of babyface, you could do them against Murder Machines, which would be insane.
It's weird that House of Black are like these three really talented, kind of unique talents that just don't do stuff for some reason.
It's really weird because every time they're on, I love them.
Yes, and they're all kind of different from other people in the company.
Like
you know what
Malachi
I mean?
has really cool matches, and the feud with Edge I thought was solid. Brody
and he's
King
just
had
got
the
that
Darby
dark
match,
sort of goth, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Brody King is just a monster.
And his C2 run was really good.
And then Buddy is Buddy.
I love him. I've always loved him.
It's just weird that it never clicked or they never got the attention.
No, even their trios title run kind of fell apart, which I thought was weird because I felt like that was a slam dunk.
Of the four
or layup
in the group, Julia Hart got by far the biggest push, which is
absurd to me because she's the one I wouldn't
unforgivable.
She's the one I don't want there.
Right.
So that's definitely off for me. But yeah, a great match to start us off still. I think it's an early candidate for the TV match category.
I already put it on there, yeah.
Yeah. Wrestle Dynasty recap quick. I didn't write anything about that.
It happened. Things happened. People won and lost.
Then we hear from Private Party, shots, etc. They're on the stage in like a little VIP thingy. Cassie talked about them successfully defending the titles against Andretti and Rush on Collision, which I was going to watch. And that
Rush? No. Rush.
No, because we already covered him.
That's right. Blackballed.
Yeah, exactly. Cassie said they're here to celebrate. Her business her business, her syndicate. That is
wow.
That's TJR.
You say you like wrestling.
That's TJR.
It's his fault.
From him.
John
Boy.
Will Washington.
MVP suggested raising a toast to them. He toasted to these incredibly talented athletes just successfully defending their titles. Lashley toasted to them taking the titles. He poured his drink out. And then they go off because Lashley's got a match coming up next.
Man, I have no problem with Hurt Syndicate challenging for the tag titles, but Private Party look like chumps here. They come out to do something, they get interrupted, Hurt Syndicate steamroll them, get the last word, and walk away. Like, you made your... They're clearly... This private party experiment is coming to an end, I think, right?
I don't even
It
think it's
feels
much of an
like-
experiment. It feels like they're just transitional champions.
They looked really weak here. Lackluster run for them. And this, I don't think... Is there a universe where they beat Hurt Syndicate the way the Hurt Syndicate's being booked right now? No.
No,
right?
that's why I don't
So-
want this right now.
Either they were planned to be a transitional champion from the get-go, or it just...
Or
The blooms
maybe the
off
Hurt
the
Syndicate's
rose?
just taken off.
I don't know, yeah. But anyways, I felt bad for Private Party here a little
Yeah,
bit.
because like they sounded fine, but they definitely got bitched out here, and
They
not
did.
in a way that, not in a Ricochet
Although
kind of
it
way.
happened to Ricochet and he recovered.
But
I
it's
know,
not
I
the
don't
same.
see... I agree.
It's not the same. I have no problem with the Hurt Syndicate taking the belts. I just don't want them to take them now.
I know.
Because Private Party deserves some more time, and I think like after it was such a long road to get to them winning the belts, I would feel shortchanged if they lose them now. But that's
And
probably
they
what's
just
gonna
haven't
happen.
evolved at all, and they haven't had any like memorable matches really. It's just kind of too bad because we like them, but
Yeah, I love them, but
this has just been kind of there.
yeah, Hurt Syndicate's a lock to win, so it's kind of tricky.
I know.
But they didn't even hurt nobody. So
Nope, they did not hurt
that's
their
what-
feelings. Maybe
they did. That is true. They never specified how they hurt
right?
people. They
Why
just
you got to
specified-
assume physical?
that's
Mental
true.
pain is valid. Okay.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's true. Then we go into Lashley versus Mark Briscoe. I think Lashley was wearing WWE tights again, but I honestly don't know.
You would know. You definitely can't look to me to validate that opinion because I don't know.
Lashley versus Briscoe. I guess this is kind of stemming from the C2 because Garcia was feuding with them kind of in the C2, and then Briscoe's helping him out, so now they're gonna hurt him.
If you say so.
Or maybe they just said Jay Briscoe's name. Who knows?
No, that's all it takes.
That is all it takes. Although he doesn't have a belt, so he can't really
Nobody-
barter anything.
Yeah,
for
there's nothing. He doesn't have anything anyone wants at this point.
Maybe like the rest of his teeth, the
Maybe.
last three.
That's Danhausen's gimmick.
Yeah.
I saw a thing like he sells. Danhausen is like the second or third biggest merch mover in AEW.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because he returned to the ROH and then he doesn't really do anything. Because
No.
there's not really much of a place for him, I think.
No.
Like he's funny sometimes, but I don't know. Yokozuka cutter from Lashley for 2. That's like when he has him up in the Dominator and he like slams him to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Remember you asked me? I think it was probably during the Swerve match.
Yeah,
What that was.
I did. Because I don't know.
Yeah, exploder suplex on the floor from Lashley. Briscoe hits that chair assisted tope to the outside. And then a corkscrew sent on the outside from Briscoe, kind of like the floating bro
Mhm.
kind of style. Briscoe hit a froggy bow. Lashley kicked out at 1. I saw someone complaining about finisher kickouts. I think it was on What Culture. They're complaining about finisher kickouts on Raw. Because Jey Uso was like kicking out of a Claymore in like a middling match.
Yeah.
I kind of get that because finisher kickouts at 1 are kind of cool. Like this, I guess it builds Lashley, so I don't really care. But I liked it when because I rewatched the International Trio recently, and the Takeshita kicks to the Hidden Blade at 1. Like
And-
that, there's some power to that, right?
Yes.
But I do agree with What Culture in the sense that like Jey Uso shouldn't be kicking out of a Claymore in like a middling match on
Mhm.
Raw.
I mean, to me, also the context, like how much damage have they taken up to that point? Like your finisher isn't always like a guaranteed. Like if you just walk
That's
in
fair,
and hit
too.
your finisher with no
Unless
damage,
you're Omega.
right? Like it's not always gonna work. I
No,
don't know.
that's a fair point too. And I guess it was kind of weird also on Raw that he lost or McIntyre lost because it felt like Jay was like a stepping stone to Roman.
Mm-hmm.
That's neither here nor there. Spear from Lashley. Lashley plants Briscoe with that spinebuster and submits him in the Hurt Lock. They beat Briscoe down until Private Party run down with chairs, and there's a standoff, and the Hurts to get back off. And I like commentary pointing out the MVP. He said before, like, they're not going to fight unless there's money involved.
I like
and
that
I like
too.
commentary pointing that
That's
out.
why they sort of back. Not that they're intimidated, but that like they don't do things for
And I like
free.
that because it gives them a reason to not always get into brawls
Yes.
while not being, like, cowardly at all.
Exactly. So yeah, dominant win by Lashley. Briscoe got like one kind of extended flurry, and the rest was Lashley just killing him. The I don't know if it matters. The Hurt Syndicate aren't getting the crowd reaction because they're kind of cool heels right now, right? So people are kind of cheering them.
Like, the We Hurt People chant is
it
getting over.
can be awkward. It doesn't bother me.
I
but
don't care.
Cool
Because I
heels
think
are-
they're awesome anyways.
Yeah. And again, I imagine they're going to defeat Private Party. I don't know if you can have shenanigans involved to extend the feud or something, but they're definitely
Honestly, I feel like extending the feud is a waste of time. Either Private Party have to put it down or they have to lose. And I lean towards the latter.
They are definitely building Lashley as a monster, and that, I mean, as
That
you
is
should if you bring him in.
good.
Yes.
As
I can't
long as he doesn't touch the title.
Yeah, he's not my favorite, right? But if you present him in the right way, he is
You
impressive.
can have a belt, just not the main one. Because I think Lashley's cool and all. He's not my particular cup of tea, but I don't have a specific problem
I'm
with
pretty
him.
much the same.
However, we're not in WWE where I'm like, oh, he's a sweet hoss. They should give him the title. We're in a company where there's so many people I'd rather have
in
the
their
belt.
prime.
In their prime, reaching their prime, even like I'd argue Fletcher's not in
Yeah,
his prime.
I would. He's not.
Right? Even Osprey's like just reaching his prime, or he's just in his prime
Yeah,
now.
I would say so.
Right? And like I think Takesha's kind of around there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I think Switchblade and Darby are still guys who need the title. Hangman is the guy who can go back to the title. I still think that the linear progression is Darby, Switchblade, Osprey for the title.
But man, you could have Lashley and Shelty as a tag team that just. But
I'm
again,
totally okay with that.
You hate the tag team division and you don't want to do anything with it, so it's kind of going to be a waste unless you guys, AEW I'm talking to, decide like, hey, we could make the tag division amazing. Like, the trios division may as well not even exist at this point.
Death Riders just don't even carry out
I
the
could
belts.
forget they have them.
Because they don't.
I know,
carry them
it's
out.
so stupid.
That's...
You have the greatest roster maybe in the history of wrestling, and I know that might be controversial for some people, but and you're just not using two divisions. You could argue, well, the women's, you've got Mariah May now, you figured that out, but
they're using it, and they use Monet. Like they don't fully utilize it, but they do utilize it.
It's better than it was for sure.
Yeah, I'd say
but
so.
But tag and trios is horribly neglected, and I'm
company that used to do good at it.
I'm partial to those matches. Like a good tag match and a good trios match to me are.
So saying to you, when I was watching back some Takeover stuff, like quality tag wrestling is insane.
And especially like on a pay-per-view, it's awesome if you can count on a variety of stuff. Like here's a tag title match, here's a trios title match. Those should be staples of your pay-per-views.
Remember the Best of 7 series? That was
you should be building to that.
That was a golden age.
I don't know what they're doing, but
I miss the Best of 7.
Lashley and Benjamin could be a crazy tag team.
Yeah, I always hope they're gonna put stock in the tag division because I feel like maybe they just forget about it because I don't think it's not like Vince where I know he has a hatred of tag wrestling.
He's basically like, if you're a good tag wrestler, you should just be a singles then. Like that's his thing. Like why would we keep you in a tag team when you could be a singles? Well, guess what? Some people love tag team wrestling.
Doesn't always work either.
It does not.
But yeah, it was a solid match. It was mostly just get Lashley to look dominant, and they did so that's fine. And Briscoe is a guy who can kind of take a loss like that and not be overly affected.
Oh yeah, that's sure.
Also okay. Nothing spectacular here, but it gets him looking strong ahead of a tag title match I assume we're getting. If not in February in Australia, it'll be I think Revolution's early March.
Right.
So it was good, and the post-match stuff was solid. All makes sense. And then we're rolling into the Casino Gauntlet for a world title match at Maximum Carnage.
Maximum Carnage.
Which apparently was at the request of Warner.
The name of it?
No, to have
it existing?
Special.
Maximum Carnage.
I think because something about something ad related in the sense of the Cincinnati show. So I guess like just timing. They just wanted to beef up the card, and if you slap a name on it,
absolutely,
you can draw big business.
Big business. That's right.
Nailed it.
CEO.
So we know Jay White is number one based on the sweet triple threat we had last week, but he starts off with Hangman, which I thought was genius.
So love it for two reasons: furthers their issues and guarantees you good action. Right? Yeah. Not that you're getting a lot of it, but yeah, like really smart. I thought too.
Chop exchange, big superplex from White, and then Wheeler Yuta enters next, which I think is at first an odd choice because he's not a world title guy and he's also Mox's guy, but they're telling that story where he keeps screwing over Jay White and that comes into play. So I think it actually is a smart choice.
I have Yuta next. White has issues with him too, so this makes sense.
Yeah, it works. He comes and eats an immediate Blade Runner.
Of course.
But Hangman breaks the pin. Hangman hits a springboard clothesline, knock Yuta off. One for White as well. Ricochet enters next. At first, you think it's Swerve.
Nope.
So Swerve's intro hits, and Hangman's face immediately. He's like,
so good.
He's ready to go to war. And then it's like he says, "It's my house, bitch," or something. And then you hear Ricochet's laugh on the
that
theme,
stupid
and then
laugh.
It cuts into his theme, and it's like absolute genius.
That was really good.
genius because I thought it was Swerve, and I was just like, at first I'm like, oh shit, we're getting Swerve Hangman again, and then it switches to Ricochet. I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome too.
I thought the booking of the first like 4 or 5 entrants was
Actually,
really
genius.
clever.
That's what I like in a good Rumble is when they string stuff together like that. Right?
We always say the best battle royals are where
even or the match
stories
like
are
this,
furthered or developed within the context of that
right,
match.
and there's still stakes to it, right? Overall, so I thought that was awesome. Springboard Larry to Hangman, and then a suicide dive to White. Adam Cole enters next. He super kicks everybody, and then we got an NXT callback where Ricochet goes for a springboard move, gets caught midair with a super kick, and then he does the Adam Cole Bebe.
Yes.
That's the spot from my my favorite ladder match.
I even made a note that when Cole comes in, they discuss his history with Hangman too, so they connect those dots for
And he has history with Switchblade too, because they were all in that four-way where Cole got concussed with Okada. And
I like that they don't assume I remember, and they sort of remind me because I need that.
So I like that he's got history with pretty much everyone in the match so far, aside from Yuta.
Right.
Panorama Sunrise to Ricochet for 2. Deanna Garcia enters next. Slap fight between him and Yuta. Hobbs enters next. He tosses everyone around with explosive suplexes. Roddy enters next. I was happy to see Roddy. Backbreakers for White and Hangman. Belly to back face buster to Yuta onto Hangman. Ricochet gets stomped out by Undisputed Kingdom's guys and Garcia. The crowd loves it. Sick kick to Hobbs. I like that they actually called it too.
They did.
Appreciate the sick kick. Nasty cutthroat suplex from White to Ricochet. Just drilled him. That was crazy looking. He went for a Blade Runner on Ricochet, but got low blowed by Yuta. Lance Archer enters next because it's his token. Get him in a big match. Have him do a few things. He never wins.
Look dominant for a couple minutes, and then you're done.
2-0, yeah. Archer chokeslams Yuta on the apron. Chokeslams Roddy on Cole, and chokeslams Garcia on the top turnbuckle. I thought that was actually all kind of cool.
It was a good sequence, yeah.
We get some meat chances. Archer and Hobbs, Beal, Ricochet across the ring back and forth. Another callback to that ladder match because Sullivan and Killian Dane did that.
And more of Ricochet just looking like a chump. Like they're literally throwing him across the room back and like playing catch with Ricochet.
I didn't actually end up watching this in my Netflix binge session, but it's like they're doing a love letter to that ladder match, which is, as I've said before, one of my favorite matches of all time. And I do think it's a 5-star match from Meltzer, I want to say.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure, which is kind of surprising for a multi-man ladder match, but I feel like I saw it on Wikipedia because I actually was looking up his 5-star matches just because well, I'll get to it on NXT
5 and above because it's infinite.
There's that too. Yeah. That's why I was looking at it because the one match I watched is apparently the highest rated WWE match of all time.
Nobody's been rated infinite yet.
Nope.
We're still waiting.
I wonder why they haven't been rated infinite.
Omega Gabe Kid wasn't infinite.
No,
weird.
Guess not. I mean, I wouldn't.
Just a lowly 5 1/4.
I wouldn't think it was honestly.
Garbage.
We'll get there. Scoop power slam to Archer from Hobbs. Archer gets back up, hits a black hole slam. Kyle O'Reilly enters next, which I was also happy about. I saw someone point out they had the conglomeration thing still on his Tron, so someone's like, he's in 2 groups. And I was like, the conglomeration seems to kind of died out though, which kind of sucks, but
it has.
It's natural.
No more crazy Briscoe promos.
Also Golden Age.
Yep.
Speaking of Golden Age, we got Undisputed Era Boys teamed up on Ricochet and Hangman. Total elimination gets hit to Hobbs. Jeff Jarrett enters next, and we all groan. Or sorry, us sensible humans groan. Yuta attacks Jarrett on the entranceway in the brawlway, so thankfully Jarrett never sees the light of day in here.
That's right. He just disappears.
And then randomly, surprisingly, Hobbs hits a spinebuster to O'Reilly and gets the win.
We kind of looked at each other like,
I was like, oh.
Like,
I don't hate it.
We weren't upset. We were just like surprised.
I'll talk about it in my opinion more, but I'm disappointed it's not Switchblade. Relieved it's not Jarrett.
That's fair.
You know?
Yep.
I think it should have been Switchblade.
Yes.
But at the same time, I can understand maybe they want to wait till the Copeland feud's done. Maybe we put more stock in a Switchblade.
Yeah.
Or we have him do the Yuta thing.
You're hoping at least.
Yeah. And then maybe we don't have him in the title scene again until he wins it, right? Like maybe the 4-way is him throwing his hat in the ring and we'll wait it out.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason. I'll trust the process. Then after he gets interviewed quick, does Hobbs. He says Mox brought him to AEW. Next week he's going to shock the world and make Mox his bitch.
After he uses the word shoot at made a note of that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Another enjoyable match. I really like this stipulation. It's really fun for TV. I think like someone said they kind of use them a bit much, which is maybe true considering we have a women's one next week. But the women's one is at least it's a first for them, kind of like the tag one we had, the Ospreay and Fletcher one, right?
This is the first one Ospreay hasn't won too.
First, yeah, because he wasn't even in it,
right?
So I guess he's won every one he's been in.
There you
go. Because he wasn't in the one at All In either, right? But I think it's a really fun stipulation. And I like that, and I think we talked about it before. Unlike the Rumble, they don't pretend to have these set intervals. It's like just kind of
Here he
randomly
comes.
dispersed, because the Rumble is kind of like that. I remember one time we timed it because it's never fully accurate, right? And so I like that they don't even pretend with that pretense.
And I like that a couple things. One, the not going over the top rope. You don't have all those stupid spots where it's 3 guys trying to lift a guy over the ropes. You can have people fighting all over the place, and it doesn't have to have like 15 guys in the ring.
Right.
You don't even know how many people you're going to get, and it makes that being the first guy in actually matter.
Because I saw someone, comment that why is Switchblade fighting for the number one
because he's
spot,
in the match.
because he's guaranteed in the match. Like Roddy was in that match too, and he ended up getting in here anyways. But it was a lot later, and you don't know.
Like
right?
at some point, they could pull the trigger on like it ending within the first 2 guys.
I don't think they ever will, because these matches are so much fun. But I would like to see them do it at some point, because I think it would just, then you could really put over that sudden death thing that they always tote.
Of the so I would say this and the Iron Survivor are my 2 currently. Like, I'm really big fan of both of those kind of
I
stipulations.
really like this, because I think the Casino Battle Royal was their first attempt at this, and that one kind of fell flat with the suits and whatever.
It was dumb. They were trying to shoehorn the gambling gimmick in a bit too much.
I think this one's a better concept.
I agree.
You could even add the cards on the screen if you want to really just, because I don't care if you lean into that gimmick.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't change the match. I think the suit thing affected the Battle Royal.
Well, and it could be that's how they determine is like the ace is the first person and you draw 2, you're the second, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Up through, but I guess you don't know how many. What's the maximum people in? Is there a max?
I don't even know if there is.
Infinite? But anyways.
I also they had the casino ladder match a couple times. Remember?
Yeah.
I think that's when Cage debuted, because it was I think it was 9 dudes and it's like a Royal Rumble ladder match, which I think is a kind of cool idea too. Because it was kind of a similar thing where you could end at any time.
And
right?
another thing is people can hit their finishers and then people have to break up pinfalls. If you hit your finisher in the Royal Rumble, you now have to pick up dead weight. It almost doesn't make sense for you to
unless
hit your
it's your Shawn Michaels and your sweet chin musicking him
right.
off the apron or over the ropes.
But anything impactful on the mat, well, now you've got to get this 200 whatever pound dude from dead weight. Whereas now it's I'll just pin him.
Let's say Samoa Joe, right? Because he's someone who could be in this or could be in or has been in a Royal Rumble. If he locks someone in a Coquina clutch here, he could take him out and win. Whereas in the Rumble, he's making someone pass out. Now he's got to deadlift
literal
someone
dead
over
weight.
the ropes, right? So that's a good point as well. It's your finishers are a lot more logical. And for Ricochet, you're saying with the over the top rope thing, he's got a lot more freedom to kind of do whatever he wants.
And you're motivated to try and get pinfalls quicker before more people get in. And you're just it's just so they've taken a lot of my issues with battle royals and made it a lot better.
Yeah, it's almost like Aztec Warfare, but without the eliminations, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is I think that's all right, because then it's not going on forever.
So I appreciated commentary connecting the dots. I appreciated the way they set up the first few entrants.
I thought it was really well constructed, yeah. It was a little convenient that Undisputed Kingdom were kind of all there.
Yes.
But I kind of liked seeing them together, so I'm okay with it, kind of.
And whoever wins this is clearly a placeholder challenger anyways. And Hobbs...
I think that's a good spot for him. Honestly, it's a decent way to capitalize off the momentum from the match we were there.
I was just going to say, I thought he looked pretty great at World's End, so why not give him a little bit of exposure here? So I thought this was a really good match that never seemed too crowded, which happens in Battle Royals.
Yeah, because this is only technically 11 guys, but...
And a couple of them left right away.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So yeah, starting with Hangman, Switch was smart and welcome. Yuta and Ricochet both served purpose. Ricochet's bait and switch was hilarious. I thought that was a great way to capitalize on his actions last week and the heat he's been getting, right?
Yeah.
People are excited to not only see Swerve, but like me, see Swerve and Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get denied at both, so I thought that was really smart. A lot of good action and good variety of talent. Archer and Hobbs are your hosses. Ricochet's a high flyer. Technical guys like Garcia, Kyle O'Reilly. You got some all-rounders like White, Hangman, Cole, Roddy, right? There's just kind of a variety in there. So you kind of get to run the gambit in terms of what style you're looking for.
Yep.
I enjoyed all the NXT callbacks and the Undisputed Kingdom working together. I was surprised Hobbs won, but like I said, I don't hate it. I wish it was Switchblade.
I like being surprised.
But maybe they want to build that match better, and honestly, I'm grateful it wasn't Jarrett.
Finally.
Hobbs and Mox have history. Mox brought him to AEW, like he said, because remember Hobbs turned on him and joined Team Taz?
Yeah.
Remember Team Taz?
I do.
But there's also, when Hobbs came back from injury, the match he got injured in was against Moxley. Because so now this will be the second different world title Hobbs to challenge Moxley for. Because remember last year is the really bad match for the IWGP world title.
That's right.
So yeah.
I just think Hobbs is a believable, intimidating hoss.
I think he's cool.
Yeah.
I don't ever see him as a main event guy, kind of like Lashley.
Not at this point, but who knows?
Why isn't he in the Hurt Syndicate?
He would fit there for
That'd
sure.
be crazy. I would do
He
him.
kind of is like a modern Lashley a little bit.
Yeah. Then we get to hear from Jeff Jarrett.
What about Hook? Isn't that before this?
I honestly don't even know. I didn't write it down.
I just
so
wrote
guess
Hook,
not.
and then I have AEW is a mixed bag of storylines these days, and this is one I could live without. I don't know what Hook did, but he was there doing something.
His match is next week.
Maybe.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Then we hear from Jarrett. Jarrett said he has to wonder if he has what it takes to be world champion again. No.
Does not. If you just could ask me, I would tell him.
I'll give him an honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
MJF interrupts and he joins Jarrett in the ring. He says he doesn't think Jeff has had the privilege of meeting him yet. He talks about being the longest reigning champion of all time, reminds us his name. He said Mox is a dictator, Hobbs is number one contender because Jeff got beat up by Yuta and he dropped the ball. He mentioned some guys going after world title. He said none of them are worthy of holding the Triple B. He put Jarrett over as a 12-time world champion. There's no way that's true. And a 2-time Hall of Famer. Like, what are half his reigns in GFW? The fans chant Double J. MJ said he had to Google the accomplishments of Jarrett. He said his dad was a Jarrett fan when MJF's dad was a kid.
I like the subtle,
funny.
like, you're so old. It's not wrong.
He said the clock is ticking on Jeff's career. He said that the contract Jeff signed is only for 1 more year. Thank you. He said, actually, if I actually believed in a god, if I actually prayed to a god, there would be no Jarrett right now.
Before we rip on it, at least if you're trying to set up like this, Jarrett's in his final year of whatever, at least, like, I thought this was a pretty clever way of doing that. Do I want to see it? Do I feel bad for MJF being involved in this? Yes, but...
Wait, do you want to see it?
At least they...
You answered both those questions, yes.
At least they introduced, like, okay, it's a 1 year, it's his last gasp sort of thing. So I get that.
Does that make him deserving? No.
Of course not.
He said, oh yeah, clock's ticking. He said Jarrett had to sign the contract because that's what pro wrestling thinks he has left to give. That's generous.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Like, 12 months is max all you've got left.
I think that is
generous.
More than enough.
Yeah.
He said he's not there to piss off Jarrett. I wish he was. He's there to help. He said Jeff has 1 more year to prove that he still got it. He said Jeff has 1 year to make it back to the top of the mountain. He can help Jarrett do it. He wants one-time favor. He wants the first shot when Jarrett's world champion. Jarrett talks about MJF being world champion for over a year. He said you learn from your failures more than you do from your successes. He said it doesn't mean MJF will get there again. He said they call people like MJF one-hit wonders, and that got a chant somehow. Jeff said he knows the road he has to go down. He's been rock bottom, and he's comfortable there, so he can stay there then. That's me adding that.
That's editorializing.
That is editorializing. He said it allows him to fight his way back to the top of the mountain. No. He said he could have been in the Casino Gauntlet, but MJF that being, but he's out here trying to scheme and connive. He said he's going to make the most of 2025, and he does not want MJF's help.
So, initially, my thoughts are MJF just got out of a terrible feud with Adam Cole, and now he's involved here, which isn't great. However, I think the idea might be that heel MJF is trying to support Jarrett becoming champion because Jarrett is very easy to beat.
That's what I thought,
right?
Too.
And it's a whole lot easier than having to deal with Moxley in his current form. So from that, I don't want to see it. But again, I think the whole, like, we've set a 1 year limit on this. This is his last run. And MJF is just trying to ulterior motives galore, right? Like, he's not doing anything for anyone else. It's because he wants a near 60-year-old to have the title so he can take it, right? So he's setting up like, I want a title shot if I help you to get it. So from that point of view, that's kind of fine, but I don't want to see it. This you could just summarize this for me and not make me watch it because
exactly.
Anyways, also this segment was really long and I just
way too long.
I don't need to see it.
Jarrett just rambles.
MJF deserves better than this, but we'll see where it goes.
He deserves better than you, and you know it. I appreciate him trying it as well enough job, but MJF, regardless, looks like an idiot making an attempt to put over old man Jarrett as someone even remotely capable of taking the world title. The whole ordeal is ridiculous, even pretending like he can still go, let alone go enough to be in a world title scene. Not even just MJF saying that, just him, Jarrett pretending like that, the crowd acting like that.
But if that's MJF going, I'm not in line for a title shot, this guy might be.
No, that's fine.
I'm going to help him. I'm going to convince him he can do it.
And I like that, but everyone else pretending like Jarrett's even remotely close to... Like, what universe are we living in? Are we all delusional? Did we all have, like, a group hallucination? Are we in a coma? I guess Max is using him to get a title win. That I kind of like. But I feel like even still, he could pick anyone better, and Jarrett, again, should be nowhere near the title, so I don't care why he's doing what he's doing.
I feel like it's my fault. You're devoid largely of the nostalgia chip in your brain, too.
Jarrett's just not, he's proven not to have any value either.
Yeah,
Like, he's adding nothing to my experience. He's detracting. I know this. Jarrett's not entertaining. He doesn't deserve to be here and has served no purpose. He rambles too long and nothing feels important. And Jeff gains nothing from this and it's a waste of his time in addition to mine.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, he just came out of a feud that was completely backwards.
And now it's like here feud with or whatever. You're in an angle with
now
a 60-year-old.
Now he's regressing.
Yeah.
Again, this whole storyline is stupid and an absolute waste of time because it shouldn't be happening. Anyone who thinks this is good or who believes that Jarrett is still like that, he still has it and that he deserves a title run is a nostalgia blinded fool, not able to recognize when it's time for better talent. And again, I will list them off again. There's no shortage of people who are better. Jarrett's lucky to be world champion in his prime. He shouldn't be anywhere close to it now. Anybody feuding with him this year gets dragged down, and I pray he never gets to a title program. And if he does, may he never win.
Mm-hmm.
I already put this and the other segment in my worst of.
Nice. I think I put the previous last week's in.
I'm putting both in because we'll drag this into the ground until it goes away.
Nice.
Then we hear from Adam Joseph Copeland.
So my first note here, back-to-back segments with two guys totaling 107 years of age.
Nice math.
Yeah.
I don't... This I have slight time for because I like Copeland in certain capacities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like to see the Christian.
I told you one of our regular listeners and commenters, Ghost Jam, is on board with the name Cope being, like, I don't even like saying it there.
That's why I told you I refer to him as Adam Joseph Copeland. I mean, we're elongating it instead.
He made a comment of something like, I guess we have a front runner for 2025 worst name change, and I wasn't picking up what he was saying, so I was like, oh, who is it? And then he was like, oh, of course, it's got to be Cope.
I mean, Holden Cannon. This is such a WWE thing to do. It reeks of Vince McMahon at the end of the 2010s. Because like Ollie, Theory, Riddle, other people who did that as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's other. Oh, I guess both Garza, I guess Angel and Humberto.
Yeah, they lost names.
Well, now he's Berto, which is even worse. But
just keep getting it. He's gonna be Toe soon. They're just gonna keep shortening it.
Burr.
Birdie boy.
Yeah, right. Copeland mentioned Moxie. Like, I just say Copeland.
Yeah.
That's not even me trying to like fight it. That's what I did.
And I'm the guy that tries to like, I'll call people what they want to be called, but it'll take a while. Eventually we'll all forget and
like
it'll
Gunther,
be fine.
we
Eventually you just
got there, but still. Copeland mentioned Moxley. He said they took out Danielson. They threw Darby down a flight of stairs, and we haven't seen him since. But they tried to take out FTR, which is a big mistake. My paraphrasing of that was, you took out Danielson for good. You kicked Darby down the stairs, and we haven't seen him since. That's okay, but you tried to hurt FTR. They're my friends, and I don't like that.
That's where I draw the line.
And I said, yes, that is more severe.
Mm-hmm.
Edge has his priorities.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like this guy's getting suffocated on back-to-back pay-per-views, or this guy's getting, like...
They tried to murder Darby Allin.
Yeah, they kick him down the stairs after, like, doing a concerto or something.
Yeah, they showed that right before this, right? They recapped
I think it was on the last Rampage, and so... I mean, that's a cool way to write after Darby. I just wish they had done it sooner.
And my note says he's fallen. They said cool looking stunt, and their quote was he's fallen off the map. And I was like, could this be Jack's idea for Darby starting now?
I think it's a little late, but that was with me having a shorter scope for the Death Riders thing. Maybe it's going longer than I thought it would.
It feels like it's dragging on to me. So
I was just thinking too. I feel like the Death Riders are a little falling off for me because I liked when they were in like beating the crap out of everybody and like they're standing in the ring fighting off a bunch of people trying to get in. I thought that was the coolest.
Now they're taking losses to FTR and Edge.
Now they're taking losses to FTR and Edge, and they're not beating people up. Their whole thing was whether you like the vagueness or not.
They hurt people. Whoops! You got a duplicate.
Their thing was that Moxley has this brutish way of, getting the roster to stand up. They were beating the crowd people so much that like Private Party and Garcia and all these guys were standing up, that's why I like that, because like it forced Cassidy to become this leader. But now it's like, why would anyone stand up to them beyond getting the title shot?
It was either AEW will become his vision or he'll burn it to the ground. And now it's just kind of like,
now I feel like he's not burning it.
They're just a heel faction.
Like sometimes you gotta say burn it down.
You do.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know why I was thinking about that, but because I really like Death Riders when they were doing that. I think that's what was really cool about them to me. And then
I was into them for 2 weeks.
I think it was longer than 2 weeks,
maybe.
But I think after World's End, it just hasn't been as much as that. Like I want start beating people up again.
Mm-hmm.
Like beat Dark Order, beat the tar to them, get them to stand up. Because, like, even they were getting promos, remember? And Uno was like, Uno's a really good promo, dude.
Yeah.
If they give him time, like, when Uno does a fired up promo, he's actually really good.
Yeah, he is.
But I miss when it was that, because I feel like then
because now it is not.
No, and so I think I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But anyways, kick more people down the stairs is what I'm saying.
Right? That did look good. Darby's a stunt
Darby's
man,
done that before, too. I think there was one time in Dailies when Men of the Year, shout out to them, Ego and Mr. Scorp, they did that to Darby as well.
Yeah.
Then they proceeded to get beat by Sting in a singlet, or in a stinglet,
yeah.
at Double or Nothing in 2021. That was atrocious. Old man Sting in a singlet.
Stinglet? That would be. Stinglet. Would that be his son? One of his sons would be Stinglet.
The one is. I think it was the one that's dressed as Wolfpack Sting. I think he's the one that's training.
I enjoyed that time because, like, reviews and stuff kept calling Sting's kids. They're like 30-year-old men. Like, I don't know. You need
one of them, Steven Jr.
You need to keep calling them kids. Anyways.
Sting's sons.
Yes.
Sting and
adult sons. Because again, your projection image of like
Sting and Sons auto repair.
That's it.
Anyways, I'm on topic. He mentioned Moxley, claimed that others in AEW don't have what it takes to handle the grind to be champion. Copeland talks about getting injured in matches and winning. There was something about Eddie Guerrero. He mentioned the cage match with Malachi, which he won't be able to talk about pretty soon. He wondered what Moxley can do to him that hasn't been done before. I said break his neck, and then he said that hasn't been done before. And I was like, shit. Death Riders came out, but FTR came in the crowd to fight them. Brawl breaks out. Eventually, Pac is back. I'm always complaining about where he is. Apparently, he was given time off, so good for him. But get to work.
Yeah, we need him.
Like,
love him.
Slacking, buddy. He hit Copeland with the briefcase, which allowed Death Riders to get in control. Bulldog choked to Copeland, and then he was gonna plastic bag him, but then Hobbs came out and FTR got back in, and the Death Riders backed off.
My favorite part of this was Hobbs just calmly strolling out to the ring. I thought he looked cool, and that his presence made like a team of murderers basically retreat.
Yeah, that helps put him over in like a 1 week.
Right, making him look strong this episode. And I mean, this segment wasn't too long, so that was another bonus. But
or Maximum Carnage is next week, right?
I don't know. Again, this is not a storyline that I'm gravitating towards, but it happened.
Not only is it the diminishing of the Death Riders, but I don't have an investment in Copeland as a title challenger. Like, he sounded fine. He's a WWE guy. He's never gonna cut a bad promo in terms of delivering whatever. I just don't care. Hangman, Switchblade, Ospreay, Darby, even Omega, Cassidy again. I'd be interested in any of them more. Hell, I'm more interested in a 1 week program with Mox and Hobbs than I am Copeland, because I like that Hobbs is getting a chance.
I think there's a chance Copeland wins.
I don't think it's impossible.
I think AEW are hearing the general feedback on Death Riders is not positive. You also have Christian sitting there with you know what I mean? So doesn't it kind of look like that's
Will
possible?
Washington, we already did the thing where Copeland wins the title and Christian takes it.
I know, but anyways,
if
we'll see.
The plan falls apart and it's not Darby and it's Copeland of all people, I'm going to be angry.
That to me would be a sign of them pulling the plug on this.
That I agree. That would be a bad
Which I'm
sign.
not saying is if it keeps going the way it's going, might not be a terrible decision. I don't know if that's.
I think it's bad if it's Copeland. If you're gonna pull the plug,
but that seems like what's in line. Unless you want to go Hobbs.
I don't think it'll happen, but I don't think it's impossible.
Just put it on Hobbs, see what happens.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible that it'll be Copeland. I don't think it'll happen. Like, I still lean towards not, but I don't like. It is worth considering.
It's a non-zero chance now.
But to me, the vision's always been clear. It has to be Darby, because that's literally how the story started. Darby was going after, Mox was going after Darby, and he took that title shot. And Darby, I think I saw someone say it too. Like, Darby could be mad at himself because him losing that title shot at Grand Slam was the catalyst for Moxley getting the shot at Danielson and being the tar to him, right? And so Darby could blame himself for all this, right? That's another thing that we could incorporate, but that hasn't been incorporated. Which I wish they would. So it has to be Darby. If not, like, I saw some people say Omega. I guess that's probably like my second choice, just because he's like EVP, and that's probably my run-up choice. And he's sick. But to me, Omega had a great run as champion. Like, I love that. Darby, like, he's a pillar. He deserves his time, right?
Yeah.
We need to finally make a start of him. We need to stop saying, oh, he'll just get beaten up. He can take a loss, right?
They need to. I guess they did have one of the pillars already be a big deal, but if you're telling me they're the pillars, start
Darby's
using
the
them.
only other pillar I think that can really be a big deal. I think Perry has his ceiling as mid-card, which I
And
think he can be a really good mid-carder, but I just think that is his ceiling. And I don't think Guevara is going to be a world champion
I feel
either.
like they're not big fans of Guevara at this point. I don't know. Like, he's just
He's good, but
dominating Ring of Honor, I guess.
I guess that's
But
his lot in life.
oh, not to have a digression, but speaking of Moxley, your mother, my wife, is of Korean descent, and we learned that the Koreans hate Jon Moxley with
Oh
the
my God,
fury
that
of
was crazy. It's like their worst of, and 90% of it is Jon Moxley. And I was even saying to you,
it was
regardless
the
of how you
Korean
feel in Death
internet
Riders,
wrestling community worst of awards, and
regardless
it was
of how you
all
feel in Death Riders, you're not putting them in worst of.
every possible category that Moxley could win worst of. It was probably like 12 to 15 different categories.
I actually
It was like
understand.
worst baby face, Jon Moxley. Worst heel, Jon Moxley. Worst promo, Jon
I
Moxley.
disagree with that
It was
completely.
incredible.
Like, he's a good pro, and I don't think, even if Death Riders isn't at its peak, it's not the worst thing on the show.
It was funny to me.
It was actually
Anyways,
baffling.
carry on.
But yeah, Mox is great. I still think his group is cool enough, but I don't need them feuding with Edge or Christian since he has that contract. I'm glad Pac was back. That's my highlight. But because it bothers me, he's often absent.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get a Mariah May promo. She talks about the Casino Gauntlet match next week for a shot at her title. Harley Quinn interrupts for some reason. She challenged her to a match on Collision for some hot girl graps, not non-title at
I
least.
do like that term.
That is funny.
Made me laugh.
May like that, and she'll rip Harley Cameron's head off, and Cameron said she'd feel the wrath. I was loving this until Cameron showed up. She just ruins everything.
I think that she has comedic potential. Maybe not in ring, I don't know, but
She's just too much.
she hits it hard though. Like, she will try her butt off for this stuff. I feel like they might put these two together.
I don't want that.
I don't know if it works either, but Mariah May's awesome.
I just feel like that kind of
I don't
diminishes Mariah May as like this serious killer.
I don't dislike Cameron as much as you do, but sometimes that contrast in it, I don't want to say team because they're not going to be a tag team.
But then it's going to end
up
up as like Better Than You, Baby, and they're going to be friends, and I just don't want that.
Who knows? But anyways, it happened.
It did. Then we get a triple threat for the number one spot next week's Casino Gauntlet.
I guess the main event, technically.
Oh, yeah. Good for the women, I guess.
Right? A lot of talent in this match, for sure.
Yeah. Storm, it's Tony Storm, Chris Statlander, and Willow Nightingale.
We are big Stat and Willow fans at FNS, so.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a fan of Storm when she's not stupid.
Me too. And in ring, she's good.
In ring, I've liked her since she came to AEW. I actually really didn't like her in WWE.
That was her. She was not. There's something going on there. She
just wasn't good. Like, I remember even in NXT, everyone was always raving about her and telling me how great she was. And I was
pretty
just like,
ordinary.
I thought she was fine at best.
I agree.
And she had that brief stint on main roster where she got pies in the face.
And she's good now.
She is good.
Yep.
Willow hit a spinebuster to Storm. Storm goes for a double crossbody, gets caught, and Willow and Stat hit like a tandem fallaway slam, which was kind of cool. Storm headbutts Willow. Statlander hits her with a roundhouse. Storm hits her with a lariat. They're all down. Willow pounces Statlander. Willow sends Storm into the corner, causing her to hip attack Statlander, and then Willow hit a cannonball to both of them and a Death Valley driver to Storm for 2. Double German suplex from Willow. Statlander hits Storm with a Wednesday Night Fever to get the win. Good for Statlander.
That was one of my thoughts, was like, I'm happy to see her kind of get a rehab win over two strong competitors.
Yeah, at least there wasn't like a weak one where it's like, oh, of course she was going to win.
Yeah.
I think any of them could have won realistically.
For the time they were given, I thought this was a really good triple threat. And again, there were simple stakes attached to it. I didn't know who was going to win. I thought at the end, they spent some time lingering on Willow being visibly disappointed. So I wonder if I don't feel like it was for no reason.
Now she's going to turn heel on Statlander.
I don't know. But I really hope that Willow and Statlander stay prominent part of AEW TV because they're both really good. And it gives me hope that maybe we're trying to get some traction with this women's division, right?
Yeah, I hope that Willow doesn't turn heel, though, because she's such a core
great
babyface they need
for
that division.
And I think this was rookie Tony Storm's first loss, right? So.
Oh, yeah, I guess because she actually took the loss, too.
So it's her first loss in AEW.
It is.
But yeah, I thought this was a good triple threat match.
It's her first loss, yeah. I thought it was pretty good. It's refreshing to see a women's match on Dynamite 2 that actually has some good star power, too. Like, all three of them are good and have a decent standing within the division, right?
Yeah, it only got 10 minutes. I thought it felt kind of quick.
I do agree. I think that's what I wrote next, is I think it could have gone a little longer, but overall the action was solid. the past feud between Seth and Willow was talked about on commentary, but didn't really get acknowledged in the match itself, which was kind of weird. But I'm glad Statlander won. She's great.
Yep.
Then we get a Tony Storm interview. She said it was an honor to be out there with them, and Statlander deserves it. She says it can't always be Tony time. She says she's sorry.
This was exactly what you knew it was going to be, right? Like it's an honor to be in there with two great stars, and I'm just this green rookie, so I'm thankful for the opportunity. So this is her character. This is what they had to do, so it's fine.
Yeah, makes sense. Then our last thing is we hear from Kenny Omega. He has this grandiose new theme from Wrestle Dynasty. I don't like it. It's just. Yeah, I thought it.
You're right. It fit better when we watched the match from New Japan.
Like this grandiose big thing. It fit in Tokyo Dome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's this big kind of like, I don't know if orchestra is right the word, but it's, I don't know, like not opera, but where it's like the guys like kind of go like, oh, kind of like Dragunov's old theme.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's made by some Japanese guy. And like it's cool and all. I'm sure Kenny likes it, and that's great. But I liked his old theme, Battle Cry. Like that kind of felt like it had a proper amount of hype for me. This one just doesn't have that feel, and I liked it as a Wrestle Kingdom thing, but I was hoping it was a one-off, and I just don't think it suits him aside from being the big match Kenny.
Yeah.
Kind of like when he would bring back his old New Japan theme, Devil Sky. Like it worked in that regard, but not on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same for me. TJR actually, thanks to him, I found out they actually had the promo, most of it on the AEW site, so I was able to get it from there.
Nice.
Omega thanked the fans. He talked about checking himself in the hospital, and he kind of recaps the whole diverticulitis thing.
Sounds awful.
And how if he hadn't checked in when he did, he would have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
Which is,
he
said last time, like that's when they first talked about it. That's when we found out that, right? Or I think it was either when he first found out. I think that was the news reports. But he might also mention. Remember, he had that one promo when he came back earlier last year, and then he got beat up by Jungle Boy.
Yeah. He did.
Jack Perry, whatever. And apparently got 2 feet of his intestines taken out, which is gross. He said the past year's been a roller coaster ride. Upon successful surgery, he had 2 questions. How long would recovery take, and when can he go back? That's one question.
Well, I'm glad he eased himself back into his matches, right?
Yeah.
This guy.
He said the doctor said that he'd be lucky if he could return to normal way of life, let alone be the Kenny Omega he used to be. And he said, being a pro wrestler, you push things a little too hard, case in point.
Uh-huh.
He had to ask himself if he could even do it still. And there was times where he felt like giving up was the safest option, and he considered it at one point. He found his purpose in Tokyo. He said he found his purpose tonight. If he's not in the ring, then he's not living. He said it's a new version of him, but Callis comes out and interrupts. He said, look, he's back from the dead, and I thought it was hilarious. Omega immediately runs up and attacks him. I wrote hi, so I guess I forgot the M. There we go. Murder Machines and Fletcher come out to beat up Omega. They fight him back to the ring, and they beat him down. They hold him for a shot from Fletcher, but Ospreay runs down with the chair to fend off the Callis boys, and we end the show with a stare down with Omega and Ospreay.
That
harken back to the match of all time.
We could get some tag matches out of this that could be pretty fantastic, right? So
I was saying to you, I want Omega and Fletcher again because Omega wrestled Fletcher before the diverticulitis and back when Fletcher was still Aussie Open, but Davis was injured. And that was really good, but now Fletcher's so much better.
Yes.
And I want Omega Takeshita again, too.
Yeah, great to have Kenny back. His star power and just in-ring ability is a win for any company to have, right? So
even for a night.
They're setting up, I guess it looks like a tag team match, right? Which could be pretty awesome. So I'm fine with it. And yeah, nice to have him back for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I said they need some top tier super baby face in this company, especially if the Death Riders are doing what they're doing. And so far it's just like, I don't know. They need some opponent to really get my interest back into this, maybe. I don't know if it is Kenny, but it could be Kenny. Well, yeah.
Darby.
But that's going to be a while.
Yeah. It was good. A lot of real stuff from Omega, and it's crazy to hear. Like, I know we already kind of knew some details about it, but it's still just crazy to hear how close he was to disaster, and the intestines getting taken out is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I chuckle when Callis, like, he just immediately goes after him.
Yes.
I like that. I'd love for him to face for Omega to face Fletcher and Takeshita again. And it was nice to see Ospreay out, as I hope it pushes us a little closer to a rematch with Fletcher, as he's with them, and it's a callback to the greatest match of all time. Hopefully that gets
right. And even though Ospreay and Omega clearly have had issues and whatever, they both, the hatred for Callis is what's unifying.
That'll
them,
unify
right?
them, yeah.
So that
and
makes
Ospreay
sense.
is good at being realistic, whereas because he was obviously a heel in that feud, but now he's
which
been
seems
babyface.
crazy. Yeah,
he's been babyface for a while.
Yeah,
but I know he'll do a really good job of like working together, but still remembering and kind of continuing the past feud they had, like
Yeah.
still that disdain kind of lingering and still honoring the story already told, right?
hmm
So I know Osprey, he always does a good job with that and kind of making it work. And even though it's like, can they coexist? That'll probably happen.
Yeah.
It's Osprey. I trust him.
Yep. I really like this show. I mean, I love the opener. Osprey Matthews was fantastic. I think Lashley Briscoe was a perfectly
Served a
appropriate
purpose, right?
extended squash is maybe a bit strong, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Casino Gauntlet was fun.
I
They
really
didn't
love
drag it
those.
out too long. It made a lot of sense. The first few entrants were very interesting to me.
It's kind of like I was just thinking the opposite the Dynamite does in Battle Royal, which was like short and didn't really have much going on.
right.
This
And,
was better.
and I like the main event triple threat. So
Yeah.
segment wise, maybe a little bit less. I didn't need that much Jarrett. I didn't need that much Copeland, but
I agree.
so that's gonna limit it a little bit. So I would give this show a B plus overall. I thought it was a pretty enjoyable, especially in ring, and then a couple segments, but not all for sure.
I agree. Yeah, I think the match is really delivered. Like I don't have a problem with any of them this week.
And a quick elevation of Hobbs, which I appreciate too.
That too. I like that. I think my least favorite is probably Lashley and Briscoe, just because it was mostly an extended squash. But like I said, it served a purpose, so I don't have a problem with it. It's
Right.
just stylistically my least favorite.
Right.
It's honestly a toss up between the opener and the Casino Gauntlet. I think as just a wrestling match, I think the opener is obviously more just it's a match.
Yeah.
But
It
the
was
Gauntlet
awesome.
was really well paced, well structured, and
Mhm.
entertaining, and a surprising result that I'm not against.
Me either.
And the main event was good. Like I said, a worthwhile women's match, which doesn't always happen.
True.
So I like that, and I think Omega was probably the best segment just because it was the only extended one that I actually liked.
hmm
I did not like Jarrett at all, and Copeland I liked minimally.
Correct.
So those were a bit of an issue for me, but like May had a short bit that was fine. And I don't think there was that much of note, right?
No.
Other than that. So yeah, I agree with the B plus. It could have done with a few better things. And if it had a couple of really good segments, then it would have been in the A range.
And we watched it all in one sitting, which to take you behind the curtain, we don't always do.
Yeah.
So and we watched it pretty close to live as well.
Yeah.
We were only a little bit behind.
And so with some technical difficulties because of the recording.
Right. Oh yes.
But yeah, if the Jarrett and Copeland segment were replaced with things I like, then would have been a great show.
Yep.
But it was still pretty good.
Very solid offering. All right, so we'll take a break from analysis, take a little bit of trivia where we're going to pick up where we left off last week. It's the segment we like to call Off the Top of His Head. So we're still going through NXT Takeover main events.
Oh, right. I forgot that's what we did.
We did. So you didn't do any research, not that you needed to. I think you got them all last week. Anyways, we did the first 18, right? Because I think there's been 36 total. So we're starting
There is, I know that.
at the
for
19th Takeover, which was Takeover New Orleans in 2018. So tell me the main event.
So that was Gargano Ciampa.
Yes, what kind of match?
Unsanctioned.
Correct. My goodness. Even what type of match? You got problems. We need to clear out this to make room for other important
You should remember,
things.
because there was the one match on NXT TV. Remember they would have those few shows in that venue where there's like stairs on the entranceway, and it wasn't Full Sail, but it was a different set, and they had like the entranceway with stairs going like this.
I don't remember.
Okay, anyways, Gargano and Andrade had another match, and he wagered his career against the title, and Ciampa cost him the match.
Oh,
So
and
that's why
led
this
to
is unsanctioned, and Gargano got his job back.
So it
'cause he
didn't
won.
even happen. It shouldn't be included.
Lights out.
It's unsanctioned. Chicago 2.
Gargano Ciampa street fight.
Correct. Brooklyn 4.
Gargano Ciampa last man standing.
Correct. War Games.
Undisputed Era against
Give me the people.
Dunn Ricochet Warriors.
Yes, correct. Phoenix.
Oh, it's Ciampa Aleister Black. Yeah.
Correct.
NXT title.
New York.
Gargano Cole 2 or 3 falls.
Wow, yes.
Best match ever.
25. XXV, sorry.
Cole Gargano.
Yep. Toronto, we might have been there.
Cole Gargano 2 or 3 falls, but that was like the 3 stages of hell one, so
Yeah.
you could call it either. But yeah, we were there.
We were there for that one. Remember, like, just the vibe of the Undisputed Era stuff was like, even when we're in line and just walking around.
No,
people
remember
were-
it was we're walking out in the street after the show, and there's people still shouting that Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, it was pretty
awesome.
cool atmosphere.
They were the best.
Mm-hmm. Where did we
day.
leave off? War Games, 2019.
Undisputed Era against Team Ciampa, which is Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dijakovic, and Kevin Owens.
Correct. Portland.
Oh, that's Cole Ciampa, yeah.
Yep, day before my birthday. In Your House, 2020.
Oh, is it? It's the women's triple
It
threat. isn't it?
has 2 here.
Really? Is
Must
it?
have been a co-main event.
So it was one that parking lot thing? It's like
Who was it?
Global Cole and Velveteen?
No.
Really?
Oh no, wait. Sorry. There is only one for In Your House.
Is it the women's triple threat?
It is. Who was?
Ripley, EO, Charlotte.
Yes. The reason it looked like they're joined together was because it's from the same venue, Full Sail. So
okay.
Triple X.
Mania 30 was that? Keith Lee and Karrion Kross.
That one seems weird now.
That
out of
one,
context.
I remember it wasn't that great, and that was the one where Kross won the title, but he got injured, so he vacated it, and then Balor won it and had a great title run.
He did. 31. We got rid of the Roman numerals back to just numbers.
Balor and O'Reilly.
Correct.
That one was great, actually.
War Games 2020.
That was Undisputed against McAfee's crew, which was him, Lorcan, Birch, and Dunn.
Such a weird one too.
That is weird.
When you think about it.
That was when I liked McAfee though, because he was good at that.
Vengeance Day.
That was Balor and Dunn.
Correct.
That was a good match. I really like that one.
Stand and Deliver.
Night 1.
Yes, there are 2 for this one.
Was
forgot
it
about
Raquel
that.
and Io?
It was. I forgot about
Women's
that.
title, yeah.
And then in the second night?
It would have been Cole O'Reilly, right? Unsanctioned.
Correct. Unsanctioned, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Final 2. In Your House 2021.
5-way.
Who was it?
Cross Gargano, O'Reilly, Cole.
And you
Dunn.
just watched that one, eh?
I watched that one. That was the first match I rewatched for Netflix. Yeah.
Right, because you love Karrion Kross. And it's a Karrion Kross 5-star match.
Right.
And the final one, which was NXT 36, clever name.
Yeah.
2021.
Karrion Kross and Samoan Joseph.
Correct.
That's a weird last main event.
No, you didn't have to think about any of those, I don't think, really.
No,
so
that's
obviously crushed it.
That was my wheelhouse.
That's true. I did go right into your wheelhouse of this stuff, but I thought you might forget some of the weird ones. But anyways, dominated it. We'll have to find something new to talk about next week. But now we're going to switch back to talking about the wrestling we watched again, throwing in some New Japan this week. We call it Highspots and Restholds. So we're going to talk the New Japan before we get into
New Japan.
You've got some retro ones to talk about. I don't have detailed notes on any of them. It's just general thoughts on them. We watched Takeshita Takagi. I don't know which night was which, but
Wrestle Kingdom.
So I thought that was a really good physical match.
Yeah, I really liked it. Takeshita got the best forearms in the game.
He does. That was a really good match. I enjoyed it as I thought it would. Takagi.
Yeah, I heard that was really good and it delivered for me.
It did. Takagi's good.
That's the kind of New Japan stuff I liked. It was really good.
Yeah, it was good. We saw the tag team ladder match.
Fine.
I was disappointed in that.
I was definitely disappointed.
Nothing of note in that happened to me.
It was fine.
Who even won?
Fujita and Rob Eagles.
Right.
Sabres boys.
Right. I forgot about that even. So that one was like, we're like, oh, cool. They hardly ever do ladder matches. It should be really
Junior
good.
Heavyweight.
Very not memorable at all, I thought.
Clark Connors has a cool theme.
I guess so, yeah. You're liking Clark Connors. I was telling you, I used to watch him back in indie stuff on YouTube back in the day. We also watched most of, I think as we were scrubbing through, I just stopped and we kept watching it, was the 4-way for the television title.
Belt ever.
And it was a good match, and I was happy with the result.
Hate that belt.
We had good Canadian boy El Fantasma win that, right? I thought that was good.
Fresh off cancer.
Yeah, so happy for him. I enjoyed that match more than the tag match for sure in terms of multi-person matches.
That belt is just disgusting.
We saw Tsuji versus Finley.
Yeah, I think I half watched that one because I don't remember a lot about it.
I thought it was good, not great. And I asked you, Tsuji did some move that we were surprised he could do, but now we can't remember.
Fosbury flop.
Oh, that's what it was. Because I haven't seen that out of him. Not that I've seen a ton of Tsuji, but I do like him. I was happy.
I think he's really cool.
I was happy to see him win there, right? And take some gold. I think
he kind of had to.
He's one of the guys I think they sort of need to elevate a little bit. Then we'll talk about kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. Saber and Umino. I did not like this. I've seen it's very. I went on Cage Match and read a bunch of stuff. There's people giving it like 8s and 10s, and then you've got people giving it like 4s and 1s. I didn't like it.
I would say Gabe Kidd Omega was overrated, and I still think it was really good.
Oh, I thought it was amazing. But
I don't think it was amazing.
I just thought, and actually I made notes because I already put it in my best and worst, because I thought just in terms of like under-delivering.
And the fact that it's like their Tokyo Dome main event.
Right. I thought it was way too long. It was over 40 minutes. Way too many strike exchanges, which I know is New Japan style, but something like that we just watched, Kid and Omega, they didn't rely on that.
Or even Takagi and Takeshita.
Right. And those are guys known for strikes, and it still didn't seem too much. Saber wasn't transitioning through submissions like he usually does.
No, I was waiting for him to do like the 6-second keep switching thing, but it wasn't as much of that.
And I think maybe it was Umino, it was a pre-existing injury he was targeting. But again, Saber should have a million ways to do that. It shouldn't be.
And just, I think a lot of people don't buy into Umino, which is kind of fair.
Oh, the crowd was completely disengaged, which is another criticism.
Yeah.
Saber was standing around, actually both of them, and not following up on anything.
Like main roster style, like a Roman Reigns match.
Like, I'll hit a move and then stand around and walk.
I don't think Saber and Roman Reigns should be mentioned in the same breath. Not because either of them is bad, but because they're not the same at all.
And I just think, and I like Umino, and I've really liked some of his matches.
I've liked some, like the Ospreay one I thought did a lot for him.
The crowd's turned on him. They're not into this guy, and he's just not that guy right now. This was them, I think, trying to say, like, listen, he can be a 40-minute main event New Japan guy. That was not the case. I thought this match was not. I was bored in this match for stretches, and it just kept going. I think we watched it just
because like it was the main event. We kind of wanted to see Saber, and
I'm hoping that they
solid,
do.
But yeah,
I'm hoping Umino does ascend to being great, but he's not.
Because that's what they need. But
they do, and I've seen matches where I'm like, yeah, this kid could be really good. This was not a good showing for him. And I've really started to like Saber, and this was not a good showing for him.
This was a weak outing for him, and usually we don't see that much.
Never. On the flip side, we just before we came down did watch Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd, and
it was pretty nuts.
Like a 31-minute. I love this match. If I were gonna go star rating, I think I went like 4.5 probably.
I'd go 4. Honestly, I thought it was really
terrific.
good, but I think the people, like from what I heard from you and from what I saw in Cage Match, like it was just overhyped.
I thought the back half of it was fantastic.
I thought it got a lot better. I thought there were periods where it was a little too, there wasn't enough going on. It was, I think, having that big period without a ref was a little, to me.
I thought the brain buster through the table by Kidd, he sort of shifted gears after that. I thought he was
a good turning point for him, yeah.
After that.
I do think regardless, even though I didn't love it as much as other people, I think it was definitely a good coming out party for Gabe Kidd.
For me, for sure.
I think it's important for them to have good Gaijin guys, because you look at some of the Gaijin that have been successes, they're like Omega's won, Ospreay's won, Jay White's won. And maybe that means Gabe Kidd's not long for New Japan, but still they need to capitalize on that when they can. He's still got the strong belt. I say you drop that and start getting him into the IWGP
I think so too,
right? Because he doesn't have Coughlin to team with anymore, so he's not really tethered to a tag team in the War Dogs.
And ability aside, because there's lots of guys with ability in the ring, I thought he's got really fire was good. His facial expressions were really. Both of them were a bloody mess by the end of it.
He's got some good, like, kind of badass charisma to him, I think.
He does. So I thought it was awesome, and I haven't seen a ton of Gabe Kidd, so I was super impressed. And I don't know what, and I was asking you while we were watching, what is it about Omega where every match
he's got that certain quality about him, like Okada does.
Just brings drama, right? Like somehow there's more drama and more story to his matches than other people. And this was a lot of Gabe Kidd just sort of targeting
the diverticulitis.
The diverticulitis.
Right we were saying like chair shot right to the diverticulitis.
Unprotected chair shots to the head.
That was a little.
We had after the brainbuster through the table, Kidd rips off a chunk of the table and
breaks it over,
clatters it over.
Face. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
And a big superplex onto a pile of chairs. Right, like I really enjoyed this match. It's on my list of.
I thought it was really good. I think honestly, expectations and hype kind of hurt it for me.
I didn't hurt it for me. I'm not saying it was a 5.25 star match, which is what Meltzer gave it, but I thought it was fantastic.
And I don't think you were saying who said it was. Pollock was saying that it's
John
like
Pollock
a runaway match of the year. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think it's like it's gonna take something magical to beat it. I think like it's right now it's a good contender, but because we're early in the year. But I think like when AEW is gonna start rolling, for me, AEW. I'm going to have to wait till they start doing stuff, because this wasn't so undisputably good that I'm like, oh, AEW can't, like, they're going to have something in the chamber. Especially if the rumor is Omega and Okada at All In, dude. Like, Gabe Kidd's screwed.
Yeah, that could be great.
Right?
And again, you had Drilla Maloney and Connors at ringside just cursing up a storm, and you could hear it on the mics, and I quite enjoyed it. So, yeah. I thought it was a fantastic match.
There's some good hype dudes around there for sure.
Best thing we watched at a New Japan for sure from cherry picking. And you just wanted to go back and talk some NXT that you watched.
I do, yeah. We'll still
some retro
have
stuff.
To go through our Good Gold Days thing.
Yeah.
But this is just me watching matches because now I can.
It's on Netflix. It's so easy.
Because I can. I think I got
the WWE app was so cumbersome and unreliable and awful. that having it on Netflix is super easy.
I know. I think I got 5 matches. I watched some of them a couple times, I think. Or I think
So what do
I
you
watched the
got?
one a couple times. So I believe I went in chronological order. So I watched from Takeover Chicago 2, the opener, which was Undisputed Era and Birch and Lorcan.
Oh
I
yeah,
think this is the first Takeover outing for
Birch and
Roddy and
Lorcan were a
O'Reilly.
fun, underrated team.
Yeah, they were great. What I didn't remember though, the crowd really weren't that into them
No,
early
not
on in the match.
no.
They were always kind of bland, and this was their first takeover match. But you can definitely see the crowd get won over, especially when Lorcan goes on a tear
The
off a hot
speed
tag.
that guy works at
You
is
can
pretty
definitely
fun.
see the crowd get into it, and
'Cause
by the end, it gets really hyped. As Takeover
Unfortunately, they
does.
do look like two of the most generic possible.
Yeah.
But that kind of became their thing.
Yeah,
They're like the generic dudes who just wrestle their asses off.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can see like things really pick up. It was a great underdogs versus heel faction type match. It was also the Takeover debut for Strong and O'Reilly as a team, fresh off the heel turn. I actually did randomly watch that match, the tag triple threat from where Roddy turns heel. I didn't write that down because I didn't feel like it, but I did watch that as well. Roddy and O'Reilly to me are an impeccable team.
They're
I love
great.
them so
Yep.
much. I miss that a lot. Like I was even find myself there's some other takeover matches I could watch where O'Reilly and Fish are tag champs, and I'm just like I'm not feeling it as much.
I like Bobby, but
I like
yeah.
Bobby, but he's no Roddy.
No, he's not.
Birch and Lorcan were always straightforward and hard hitting. Then this was just entertaining. It's a really good match, and it's a classic for a reason. But then moving on to Takeover Brooklyn 4, which was the next one after this Takeover, I rewatched Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain for the tag titles, and so this one was a lot better than I remember. I know a lot of people raved about this one, and I was desiring some Prime UE, so this one
I think I remember really liking it.
But it was a lot better than I remember it being. It was great back and forth action. It was two top of the line teams. Like Mustache Mountain were a great team back in the day.
They were.
It was exactly what I enjoyed about Prime NXT so much. They played really well off of their previous match on NXT TV where Bate had to throw in the towel for 7 and
Right.
Era won back the titles. That was a 5-star match too for Meltzer on
Oh,
NXT
really?
TV, which is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was the first match on this NXT UK special, right? And then where Mustache Mountain won the belts, and there was a rematch on TV where Undisputed Era just went after 7's leg, and then Bate threw in the towel, and this is the rubber match.
Right.
There's a spot in this match where O'Reilly has Bate in a heel hook, and then we get a role reversal, and that's just like dramatic in the best way, I thought. 7's considering throwing in the towel, he just yeets it into the crowd, and then you get a hot tag for him eventually.
Yeah, smart.
UE were at their best during this time. O'Reilly Strong Duo is unbeatable for me, like probably one of my favorite tag teams of all time. They're just so good together. The work rate of Roddy and then O'Reilly is just with the kind of MMA technical style he's got
the
going
best
on.
at that, I think.
He's so good at that. They had that great match against each other at Dynasty last year.
And Roddy's just the stamina monster, and
Yeah.
everything looks great.
The tag offense both ways in this match was top notch. Things really ramped up towards the end like you hoped they would. Mustache Mountain came close before the inevitable title retention here. They hit it's like
Look at you loving tag team wrestling. It's possible, folks.
a knee drop burning hammer, which is crazy looking. The total elimination on Spear hit was nasty. NXT always did tag team wrestling right, and this was like the peak of that.
It
for
was.
Me.
God, it was such a good time.
Might be my favorite tag match for NXT, I think. And then I rewatched Cole versus Ricochet for the North American title later in the same show. A good match, no doubt, and some people put it up as one of the best, but I think one that perhaps gets over romanticized due to the era it's in. One that I really like.
And for you to say that because you do romanticize that era.
One I really like, but then one I'm rewatching this time, I find myself just I'm not into it as much.
Yeah.
It's great, don't get me wrong. I think Cole was an impeccable heel back in the day, and Ricochet as a high-flying babyface was great in spite of how he is now. But I don't remember this feud being outstanding. I remember it kind of played off the ladder match.
Yeah.
But there was a takeover in between that and this. So it was a little weird because I remember Ricochet beat Velveteen Dream in Chicago.
Ah, Velveteen.
Yeah.
Redacted?
I feel like it showed this wasn't as dramatic as I hoped it would be. It still had some good spots, but I feel like it could have done with a longer competitive period towards the end.
Ricochet doesn't excel at the drama.
Exactly.
Right? He excels at he's just a spectacle to watch.
Right. And there were some things like that, like some of his dives and he hit a hurricane run off the apron. That was cool. This match is also, of course, home to my favorite spot. One of my favorite spots in wrestling, where Cole catches him perfectly flush with a super kick mid moonsault and then hits.
I think we both yelled at that point.
It's like it still astonishes me how perfect it is.
It looks like you actually just kicked an upside down man directly in the face.
And it's a spot that they've run back a bunch of times, and I think they ran it back in.
Never looks as good as that.
5-way match. They ran it back in I think there's a match on TV with Ricochet Dunn and Cole that they did, but it's never the same.
Yeah, because you kind of have seen it. The first time you see it, you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah, and it's just,
And he followed up so quickly too.
Yeah, and that was some great drama too. Like that was the crowd, the NXT crowd on High Spots, or sorry, not High Spots, but like Near Falls is
Yes.
the height
Yes.
of crowd engagement for me. Like obviously the modern international PLEs are great, like in Backlash France or Mexico or whatever, or no, it's Puerto Rico. But to me, NXT Takeover crowds at a Near Fall is the height of.
They were just getting super
drama.
indies every week. It was amazing.
I'll always love this match for the spot, and it is a good one, just not as strong as the era, pun intended, would imply. Then Takeover New York is the last one I visited, which I watched War Raiders against Black and Ricochet. Remember that?
Oh yes.
Which is a weird one
Love
because
War
Black
Raiders.
and Ricochet won the Dusty Cup. Another great tag match that I sometimes forget about. The team of Ricochet and Black, or Alan Rick, makes no sense in reality, and the only team, because remember there's that weird period in 2019 where they brought Black, Ricochet, and DIY up temporarily, but then they weren't caught up. It was when Gargano was heel and he was North American champion for a bit, and Ciampa was NXT champion. They had some matches on Raw. Ricochet and Black were at Mania the day after this.
Oh, right.
Right? There was this week-long span where Ricochet and Black challenged for all 3 tag titles.
Nice.
Which is crazy. But anyways, that was the only reason they were teaming, so it's weird. But in ring, they're both great, so no complaints really. War Raiders are awesome back in the day, and it's great they're back to the name on main now. But NXT Raiders is always superior. It was back before they got some of their injury issues that I know, especially Ivar Hansen has been through. This match really put over the weird dynamic they have where Hansen's this agile guy and Rose a smash mouth powerhouse.
Despite being the smaller. I mean, still big, but.
War Raiders, their tag repertoire is still so cool to me. Hansen had a great hot tag flurry, and on the other side of the spectrum, Ricochet catching a running crossbody from Hansen is always insane.
Yes.
And he managed to do a fallaway slam.
Yes.
That's crazy. A weird tag match to get, but one that was great thanks to everyone involved. And it was the swan song for Ricochet and Black as well. But this was a really, really good match. It's an interesting one.
A lot of tag matches you've been looking at.
Yeah.
That's good.
Then finally I got Cole and Gargano 2 or 3 falls for the vacant title.
One of your all-time faves.
Yeah, a match I absolutely love to death, and because it was easily accessible on YouTube in a live stream video that they had was just a bunch of takeover matches. This is one I've actually been able to watch in spite of the network.
Right.
So, which is why I've watched it a bunch of times, even before Netflix blessed me with all the takeovers. I do hope we get the TV episodes at some point though, because like for me, if I'm wanting to watch Strong and O'Reilly, there's like 3 main takeover matches that aren't War Games. So I would like to watch the Mustache Mountain match that's on TV, or Cole Riddle. I think they had a really good match when NXT debuted on network TV.
Hopefully they get them all on there eventually.
Yeah,
I don't know what the plan is, but
I don't know. I hope so, because I know like TLC is coming in March, so I hope they continue to add stuff. I'd like to even see some NXT UK, watch Walter Dragunov again.
Oh my god, yeah.
I really want to watch the Worlds Collide show, because there's the one that I told you has the entirety of Imperium versus Undisputed Era, like in an 8-man tag. I would love that.
We had a good time with UK.
Yeah,
it was so short.
That was a fun little period to review. Even though it wasn't amazing, it was kind of.
It's an hour a week, and it was
kind of good. Yeah.
Usually fun.
It was digestible.
Yes.
This match is the embodiment of everything I loved about this era, though. The crowd energy, the storytelling, the characters, the peak in ring action. Like when I think of NXT, this is a match I think of, right?
Yeah.
It's everything that you want from this time period, right? And it's 100 times better than Gargano and Andrade.
Wow, that's harsh.
Easily. I believe it's still Meltzer's highest rated WWE match. I know it was at the time, and I double checked. I think it is, which is pretty crazy.
I remember the near falls being
the near falls in this. You want to talk about the crowd engagement? This is the peak of crowd engagement for me. Cole's a master heel, and Gargano is one of the best baby faces ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
More so NXT Gargano.
Yeah.
NXT Gargano was like a Daniel Bryan level to me.
Yep.
It's a perfect example of smartly starting slow, because it definitely does here, but it's like it's always contested, and it's the perfect way of building the pace, right? Kind of going up, ramping up as it goes. The first 2 falls come logically enough, and not too quick within one another. I did also watch Cole Gargano from TakeOver 25, and they call back the first fall where Cole kind of like there's like a sunset flip spot, and then he rolls Gargano through, and then he's able to come off the ropes and do a last shot.
Right.
It's pretty smooth. And like most matches of this stipulation, the last fall is where it's at, right? Some complain, and they have, about all the finisher kickouts. And you know, everyone's gonna bitch about that at some point. Because this was the AEW could complain about before AEW really got going. I guess it was around this time when AEW was starting, but it was still pre-Dynamite.
All the guys are small and they just kick out of everything,
right.
and yeah.
But the action and drama for me is pretty much second to none. Gargano's notoriously amazing too, but looking dead when he's just taking a million things. Like even in the DIY matches, he would just look like he can't take anymore, but then he does, and he keeps going. And Cole kicks the crap out of him too. Like there are multiple super kick spots where I react every time. There's the one spot where I think Gargano hits a suicide dive, throws him back in the ring, goes for that slingshot spear, but Cole super kicks him in the face mid thing, and then Panama Sunrise. Or there's a sequence where Undisputed Era interfere and Cole taps him out when the ref doesn't see it. Then they take out the ref through shenanigans. They hit total elimination, do Fish and O'Reilly to Gargano. He still kicks out. Then there's a sequence where he backdrops Cole and all of them. He throws Cole back in the ring, takes them all out. It was like he hit Roddy with some, I think, and then he's super kicked Bobby. Then he does like a tornado DDT to Roddy, but like the one where he kicks someone on the way around.
Yeah.
And then he goes in the ring, super kick to the face, which looks crazy, super kick to the back of the head, last shot, kick out. That's like one of my favorite near falls ever. Because the crowd is like losing their minds.
They're on fire
every time. And it's so good. Gargano nailed a lot of shots too, and just the near falls near the end are perfect. And then the drama as he's about to tap out Cole, and then the reaction when he taps him out. Ciampa comes out after the match to celebrate with him. Like it's just so earned, and it's easily my favorite match from my favorite era.
Yes.
It's one of my all-time favorites for sure. It's just so good. Everything about it is so good.
That time period, I remember telling people like, well, not that I talked to many people about wrestling, but when your mom would be like, because I'm not getting tickets for a lot of things, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna get tickets for NXT. It is the best thing.
It was the best wrestling before AEW came along.
It was the best. I would say that time period is my favorite of any company, anytime.
Yeah, possibly. I think that late 2010s,
and then early AEW would
late
be
2010s NXT is like the greatest wrestling promotion ever, and then I think 2021 AEW is pretty prime,
and sort of
too.
The impetus for it was the greed of WWE, right? Just going around and signing every awesome independent worker around the globe,
and then letting Triple H run it,
and just putting them in there because they were too small to be main roster or whatever, and just it was everybody awesome in one little company.
You know how grateful I am that Undisputed Era never made it to main roster?
Right.
I know some people, I think, I don't remember what I saw, but the commented that's weird. They were like there for 3-4 years, all of them. I think Roddy longer, actually, because Diamond Mine.
Yeah.
Had a rest.
Right. Yeah. Haven't mentioned him in a while.
There we go. But I'm so grateful they never made it up.
I know it would have been a shell of their...
you wanted Cole to be a manager for Keith Lee.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. There was the 1 week span, though, or like not 1 week span, there but actually was, yeah. But it was in the build-up to Survivor Series when NXT's involved, right? And Cole beat Bryan clean, Daniel Bryan, on SmackDown. He had a match with Rollins that ended in DQ, but like he's defending the title on both shows. Then he defended against Dunn at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Which I told you I was annoyed that there's some ones missing. I would like to watch 2016 Survivor Series too, because that was when people actually liked the brand split. 'Cause it was when it got revamped, and I always hear the men's match was really good because that was the one with there was like the mini Shield reunion in that match, and SmackDown actually won.
I don't remember it, but
it was the mini Shield reunion, and like Ellsworth was the team mascot for SmackDown.
Great.
Shane McMahon. I remember there's the one spot where he's going for coast to coast, and Roman like spears him to heaven. Like it was.
I wish.
It was crazy, yeah.
Actually, Shane seems like the one normal McMahon out of the group.
Actually, yeah, that's one thing from the documentary where it's like Shane actually seems like a decent
person.
human being.
They're like, he's too nice to run this company, basically.
But I wonder what their definition of too nice is.
He is not amoral.
He won't traffic people.
I think is basically it.
Anyways, yeah, this was a prime era, and so we will get back to doing it at some point because I would like to. This is just me watching them for my own enjoyment. Because thank you, Netflix.
So now, speaking of Netflix, easy transition into Raw's debut on Netflix.
On the other side of the spectrum.
Yep, my notes say absolutely painful.
You were texting me, yeah.
I was. At first, I was like, I'll just text all my complaints and use that.
I'll take a gander, see what I have.
I did start out with a few. So it basically magnified everything I hate about WWE, right? The pomp and circumstance, the love of mainstream celebrities, the clinging to nostalgia and stars from previous eras, like all of that all the time. And this was like an hour and 20 minutes of stuff jammed into a 3-hour show.
Yeah, you said,
right?
Full recap of Bloodline story ahead of match. This is painful. Cena takes forever to announce he'll win the Rumble. Grr. Recap of entire Liv Ridley feud too. No idea who some of these celebrities are.
Yeah, that's true. So It says here nothing of consequence happened for the first half hour, and then long stretches of time along the way from that.
25 minutes in, literally nothing has happened.
When I started watching, it was a 3 hour and 3 minute thing, and then when I went to finish it days later,
That's weird to me.
Was down to 2:34, I think it was. And I think it's just Americans are still getting commercials. So in the on-demand, those commercials are cut out, right? So I guess I don't think any content was lost as far as I know, but
if it was, I mean, are you really
I
gonna
wouldn't
be that?
even know.
Yeah, you're not gonna be that hurt.
So The Rock comes out, and it's The Rock. It's not the final boss, and he absolutely just panders and shills for the whole opening segment and furthered no storyline.
Goes back on the
nothing.
Well, because remember, it's because he wants to say he's 20 steps ahead, but I think this is just him doing whatever he wants.
He's
on the board
stooge now.
He's on the board,
Yeah.
literally. He's just being corporate, shilling everything, and then being buddy away with Cody because Cody's their face, right? So
Yes.
if, let's say, Roman's still champion, it would just be take Cody out, put Roman in,
So
right?
he's hugging Cody.
But like, let's not forget, less than a year ago, he's like
That's
beating
what I
him in the
mean.
rain with a belt, leaving him bloody, torturing Cody's mom.
This is not the final boss. This is The Rock. And I guess we're supposed to just be okay with that.
Like, what? Do you have personality disorder? Are you Bray Wyatt? You're
Right.
not Bray Wyatt.
Right.
Or I don't know who else does. Or maybe he's I remember when Priest first came to main roster and he was U.S. champion. They changed his theme to where it's like this angel-like intro because there's Damien and there's Priest.
Yeah.
And there's like that was his thing. And maybe there's The Rock.
It was just him going
it's like,
WWE and Netflix is awesome. WWE is awesome. So great. Cool.
Thank you, Netflix.
Roman beat Solo Sikoa in a 20-minute slog of a match. I already talked about it. It's just Solo's not believable. And lots of interference, obviously, because it's tribal warfare, and that's what's going to happen.
I told you, it's like a Royal Rumble match without all the fun.
There is some decent action sprinkled in, but just such a slow pace.
I thought Kevin Owens' cameo was cool.
Then I'm like, what actually changes with Roman winning? I don't know what changes. Like,
see the necklace? That's the necklace.
And so then The Rock comes out face to face with Roman. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Shake hands, put the thing on him, and leave.
I was telling you, Rock even like phoned in with his look because he's got like the old man's double.
He took his glasses off to let us know he was being sincere, though. So that was great. Again, this is not for me, right? This product is not. It's for a different type of wrestling fan, and they exist, and bless them, but this is not for me.
I looked at What Culture Review, and because they were doing, I think it was the ups and downs maybe, but that it's like missing the mark of bringing the new fans. Like, your new fans, it was barely any wrestling,
Well, if those new fans only care about celebrities and wrestlers from 20 years ago, then you might get them.
Well, and it's like, it was just not enough wrestling and a bunch of storyline stuff that didn't really make sense. So it's like, you're not really going to get any new fans, and the sensible ones aren't going to love it.
Or millionaire executives that they show us that I have no idea who any of them are. And
that I didn't know about, so I guess it didn't even get coverage, really.
New Day interviews. They're trying to get some heat. Basically, LA doesn't deserve to see them wrestle. Not LA Knight, but the city. Something about Drake winning a beef with someone. I don't know. And that they say the fans are booing the truth. Okay, that's fine. Again, it's like we're in a holding pattern. All we need to know is they're getting booed. Cena gets his turn to pander. It wasn't terrible, but it was a lot about him like, I don't know if I can break Flair's record, and that was the only one I appreciated seeing.
Macaulay Culkin.
And Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
So he takes forever to basically tell us he's going to enter and win the Royal Rumble, right? And I have this show is so frustrating. It's like they wrote an entire episode of Raw just to irritate me. Before each match, we also get a lengthy package recapping entire feuds. Again, in case there's people watching who aren't regularly watching. But frustrating for me. Just going through my notes. So many celebrities at ringside. I knew a few of them, not many. Ripley beat Liv Morgan to win her title back. Solid 13-minute match, nothing exceptional. Outcome we all expected. Hopefully it is the end to this feud, and I don't really know what Liv's going to do next.
Go away.
After the match, Dom wanted a hug from Ripley. I think the thing was he snuck in behind her like he was going to attack her. She turned around, so then he basically asks for a hug. She kicks him in the balls and hits a riptide. And then I think I fell asleep because apparently this is when Undertaker came out.
Yeah.
With Ripley. Didn't even see it, but great for him.
Hopefully it's over. And then Priest and Balor have a street fight next week. They can end theirs and we can be done with this.
So I'm pretty sure I dozed off for a few minutes there. And then we get cell phone clips of The Rock shaking hands with superstars backstage. And I put riveting television. And the main event which we watched this morning. You were with me there, so I thought it was a good pace and intensity right away. It did feel like they kind of hate each other. They're good at
It was good. I
getting
feel
that
like they should have
across.
had a longer match, and it's not like they didn't have the time.
No.
So.
Avalanche swinging neckbreaker by Punk was kind of cool. Commentary keep telling us Punk has taken inventory of Rollins' injuries and is going to target them. One spot I liked, Rollins rolls through a Punk high cross, transitions Punk up to his shoulders and hits a GTS.
But he kicked out.
Punk rolled to the floor on that
Right,
one.
that one.
And then you could hear Rollins yelling at him on the floor. I hit your move, and they sing my song because the crowd was chanting. Then they flip the roles back in the ring. Punk stumps Rollins, and the crowd chants for Punk. Rollins reversed as a GTS for 2. So that's 2 GTSs that now Punk still can kick out of. We get a pedigree on the table, but Punk wants no part of it. Remember, he was not willing to take that on the table. Another one in the ring for a near fall.
No one's complaining about that.
No. Well-executed buckle bomb and a stomp, but it's too close to the ropes. Punk gets his feet up on the second rope. And GTS, and you said this was a callback because Rollins falls right back into position for another one, and Punk wins. I did think it was a really good match.
I thought it was pretty solid.
A good TV match, a good main event.
I think they deserved a pay-per-view payoff, or at least like main event.
Yes.
But I do get them doing it here. It's just I wish they had the time to do more.
They could have done another 5 minutes or so for sure. High pace. They weren't given a ton of time. Exchange finishers, which seemed the crowd enjoyed that. And we all knew Punk was winning, I think. But good. I would say this, and then at some point Gunther got a vignette that I thought was about a minute and a half long, but I thought was really good. I thought this episode was dreadful. Painful to watch for me, and I don't know.
I feel like they're gonna lose you.
If
You had a decent stretch.
I know. I had a run of watching quite a bit of it.
Good. You had a good run.
Didn't love it. NXT. The opening looks a lot like Raw with people arriving. They did the whole here's everyone arriving, and The Rock is going to be here. It's it just felt like Raw, and I don't want it to feel that way.
I love The Rock being on NXT.
And again, Graves joins commentary. The show's I texted you at work. I think it's only an hour and 20 minutes with all the stuff for me, at least presented in the on demand on Netflix. The opener was good. It was Julia and Roxanne. All the matches felt like they were shorter than they should have been. This one was 11 minutes, but they started it really intense and physical right away. Julia hit her avalanche butterfly suplex that looked good, and then a spinning, I think it was a Michinoku driver that looked good. She hit a Northern Lights bomb on the floor. Cora Jade gets there, puts Perez back in the ring. The ref kicks her out. Julia kicks out of a Pop Rocks, and Perez does a good job of selling like she's shocked by that kick out. And then basically a Northern Lights bomb.
Didn't she hit 6 to Lola Vice or something?
Yeah, she hit 1,000,000. Northern Lights bomb, Julia wins, right? I thought a really good sprint of a match. Hot crowd all night to help it. And I noted that Roxanne looked so much better facing an established talent like this, because she spends a lot of time wrestling people who are technically still in developmental, right? Legitimately developing.
Even someone more promising like Parker.
Right. So it's nice to see that against really talented people, she looked really good here. And I feel like the title's off Roxanne, so Royal Rumble, here she comes, I would imagine, right? And then probably stays from there. Eddie Thorpe got attacked again ahead of his triple threat. And Ava assumes he faked it again, obviously.
I did see that clip of that on Instagram. I thought that was kind of cool.
I thought that was a smart move to someone actually attack him, because knowing that Ava's not going to...
Or, did we confirm that he's actually attacked?
Yes, because later Ava's talking to Femi's basically yeah, I did it.
Oh.
And then The Rock interrupts, whatever.
Okay,
I think
that's
when
actually
happened.
smart then. At least Ava doesn't look stupid.
Yeah, Femi's just kind of yep, I did it this time.
Ava doesn't look stupid, she just sounds stupid.
Right. Javon Evans cuts a promo with his jaw wired shut.
What?
Because the thing was that Paige broke his jaw.
No, but how do you cut a promo with your jaws shut?
So he's kind of talking like this through the whole thing.
Okay.
And it's his first serious promo that I remember, so I like that they're trying something different, right? And it's basically he's going to get even with Paige for what Paige did to him and to Cedric. So I think it makes sense, right? Have him branch out a little, because he is this super chill kind of, but now he's pissed, right? Because this guy broke his jaw and hurt his friend. So I like, it's time to start doing different, because he's awesome. So let's see what his range is at this point, right? We had a North American #1 contenders match with Vaquer, Kalani Jordan. Sorry?
Because remember last week you weren't sure which belt it was for.
Yeah, I know. Vaquer, Kalani Jordan, Cora Jade, Lola Vice. started out fast as well. Again, it turns out they did not get a lot of time. It was 9 minutes, so that explains why they start out so fast. And I said, uh-oh. Graves said that Kalani has all the tools. Then said that she lacks killer instinct, so I feel like that's telegraphing something, right? You immediately know as well.
Heel turn.
Because that's how wrestling works.
I mean, that seems where they're leaning anyways, but that's basically implying she needs a heel turn.
Yes. Kalani mostly misses a moonsault to the floor. You know how when Charlotte does it, she just lands on her feet and doesn't really...
Yeah, so, like, because when Charlotte... I'll do a demonstration
she just lands on her feet and barely touches anyone.
But, if I'm... we have...
Wow,
down there...
Yeah.
For you all viewer... The YouTube people, the podcast people are going to love it, but, like, she's jumping off. She's, like, landing on their arm, and then, like... You know what I mean? Like, she's barely touching.
This was more like... She landed on her feet in front of them and, like, barely touched them, and then they all fall over, like,
Charlotte would always
pins.
do it, like... Where she's, like, coming beside them and, like, taking their arm. You know what I mean?
This was
like,
worse than that.
I specifically remember her doing it, and she lands between two people, like, arms spread. And, like, she'll, like, kind of hit their arms. And, like, then that's why she just does that's why she lands so clean. She'll just essentially do a backflip.
Yeah.
On, just basically
can't be
do a
good
backflip
for your
to the
knees
floor.
and ankles to
Hangman.
Just land on your
Maybe
feet.
that's why Hangman's heel. He doesn't, because he hasn't done that forever.
And I don't know if I should say this one. People might think it's... I don't mean to be rude. And I'm sure Cora Jade is happy with her look, and I'm sure a lot of people love it, but she's ridiculously top heavy at this point because she's gone through a few enhancements, I would suggest.
I've noticed now. Which is fine.
It is fine.
But it's definitely a product of the culture. Because I feel like it's always kind of been a thing.
Kalani misses a 450.
Charlotte.
And I feel like whoever she was going to hit it on was already gone before she even started it. Like, she looked kind of silly, like, hey, there's nobody there. And you're facing
one of those times where
you're facing forward. It's not a Phoenix splash.
Or it's not like you're Fatu doing a moonsault. If Fatu went for his moonsault and the person's already moved,
it would make sense.
I would believe it because he just goes full send on it every time.
So she misses the 450. Lola hits her with the back fist. Vaquer, I forget what she does. She gets rid of Lola Vice and hits her package backbreaker to Kalani for the win.
Which is, again, cool move, not a finisher.
Super fast, 9 minutes, and we probably got a 3 or 4 minute commercial break, so even less. And there's no more picture-in-picture anywhere, not just for us. So fine match with good pace, nothing special. I think the right person won, and I see no reason to have Henley retain against Vaquer.
I've seen a guy on Instagram that I follow complain about the booking of Fatal Influence. Like, they haven't...
They're brutal.
It's been kind of diminishing the title. Like, they shouldn't put it on Kalani.
And I like Henley.
Or so not Kalani. Sorry, Henley. That's what I meant.
I like Henley, but again, that group is just so... It feels like it's just from a bygone era of, like, we're just mean girls and there's nothing else. We're say just a group of mean women.
It's from two bygone eras. 1, 2.0.
Yeah.
2, mid-2000s or something like that. Or
we just hate all of you because we hate all... It's like, in TNA, who were they?
Pretty... no, the wonderful... Like Angelina Love.
Yeah,
and
them.
The beautiful people.
Yes, they were really good. Like, at that time, it was kind of different, and they were just...
because it's like the Mean Girls movie, right?
Yeah, it was.
It's just the high school girls thing is not...
It was. So unless you want to...
I would see at school. That shouldn't be on my television with adult people.
Unless Vaquer, if there's massive shenanigans and you want to extend the chase for Vaquer,
maybe you extend it to Mania weekend?
Because they already gave Julia a title, so maybe they need to extend this one. I don't know.
But maybe they want that fresh start to continue, right?
But I think it should be Vaquer winning it at some point.
I don't know. I feel like I could go with Zaria.
Maybe. Zaria. A lot of Ava on this show. She talks to the witches and Obafemi. Oh, that's when Obafemi was like, I did it. The witches have a number 1 contenders match against Meta 2. Sure.
Because why?
I don't know. The focus segment they do every week is OTM this time, and these guys mumble their way to telling us they're number 1 contenders for the tag titles. They admit that Fraxium are smooth, but OTM have dealt with real problems like growing up in Nigeria and fighting for everything. That was one of them. I forget which one. I think not Bronco. And
Lucian,
then Bronco was basically like growing up poor, right? And their thing is we've dealt with real stuff, and Fraxium just argue like little kids, and worry about having 2 matches in a night. So makes sense from their point of view. Then we get Fatal Influence taking on Shotzi, Gigi Dolan, and Tatum Paxley. It's crazy. I do like this is what I'm saying. This is 3 women's matches in a row. So they're committed to their
regardless
division.
Of the talent quality always.
Yes.
They're still trying. Which I can respect that.
Shotzi botched a suplex to Henley in the corner. It looked like
What?
she basically dropped her on her head.
No.
It ended up looking more like a brainbuster into the corner, which I don't
like when
think was the
Goldberg
intention.
nearly murdered Undertaker.
Right. Lots of action on the floor leads to all 6 being down. Other faces flip and dive to the floor, and that leaves Shotzi there to hit her senton to Henley for the win. And in the moment, I'm like, the match was okay. Got about the same amount of time as Perez Julia, which seems like an odd choice to me. And then I said, does Shotzi get a title shot now that she pinned Henley? I hope not.
We'll get there.
We find out later.
Yep.
Vicaire
I saw that.
will face Shotzi next week for the title, and they're both just agreeable. I don't know how that's fair to Vicaire, but I guess she's the fighting babyface, so she's like, fine.
Yeah, like I feel like the pinning the champion thing is a trope that gets you a title shot, but
not when there's already someone that just won a match.
Usually, exactly. That's in lieu of a number one.
Then you're next in line.
Like,
Vicaire should be like, get in line.
Like that would be that should be. It should be not Shotzi. It should be I keep saying that. Vicaire's other.
Yes.
Like that would be another way for her to get her title shot instead of a number one contenders match.
She's already got it. More Ava. She's talking to Ethan Page about what he did to Evans. This is Rock interrupts. Rock tells Paige that Payback will be a bitch. If Paige wants to be cool with The Rock, then Paige needs to be cool with Ava. Wink, wink, because they never actually acknowledge that they're related, right?
Dempsey and Regal.
Right. Rock tells Paige he hopes to see Paige on the main roster. Rock asks Ava for advice on what to say to the NXT crowd. Really? So like one of your all-time great promo cutters asks one of the all-time worst promo cutters for advice on what to say. And so The Rock's nervous about
also
speaking in front of NXT?
You should ask me for advice about audio editing.
And NXT fans are so much different than this was stupid.
If it was Black and Gold NXT, I agree Rock would not know how to talk to them, but it's not.
Like as a father, you do know I am a father, right? I don't know if this is exposing the business here. It's great that he's in a scene with his daughter. I get that. But the only thing I liked was Paige here because he wasn't like intimidated or in awe of The Rock. He was just kind of like standing there talking to him normally.
I think I saw this in his facial expressions was like, it was kind of like, yeah, I should be on my roster. Like, thanks.
Exactly.
Grace guy is endorsing me. Yes, you're
right. I said putting the charisma vacuum, meaning Ava, in a scene with her dad must have been The Rock's idea because I don't think it helps her by direct comparison, right?
No, I think it's just like, oh, I want to do something with my kid. Oh, I'm on the board. Do it.
Exactly. Then we get an NXT Heritage Cup match that is not an NXT Heritage Cup match because they've just canceled all the rules and made it a normal match. It's literally just a regular match for the Heritage Cup. So stupid. Dempsey is just stretching Lexis King early in a variety of ways, and it looks really painful. Like you imagine the Hart dad was doing in the dungeon. Like that's what it felt like to me. Yeah. Dempsey's head
should have been their training sessions.
Dempsey's head is bleeding somehow.
Maybe you got slammed through a table.
Right. And a bunch of painful looking submissions by Dempsey again. And then they've done this before where it's a leapfrog attempt and Lexis King accidentally headbutts Dempsey in the junk, and then he hits his coronation directly after for the win. That reminds me of a story from your childhood. Do you remember? Because we used to refer to I'd be like the junk, right, as people's private parts when you were like a toddler.
Yeah.
And so we were watching. It was when you would still watch like kids shows. So I remember vividly. You were reading it. You were with me, and I was reading it out loud because you wanted to watch Adora the Explorer, and you wanted me to read what the episodes were. So one was Boots. Was it Boots is the monkey or whatever?
Yeah.
Boots takes his wagon full of junk, and you looked at me like, right? Imagine the image in your mind. It must have been just a wagon full of junk because that's the term. So anyway, sorry. Dempsey looked impressive in this with his transitions and just a bunch of cool submissions. King didn't do much, won the title with the accidental low blow again.
I was saying to you, I think the story would have been better if he lost.
And I don't know why this needs to be done within the confines of... It couldn't have been done... Why couldn't it have been done within a normal Heritage Cup match? I don't know why we needed the... I don't know. Anyways.
I would have liked it if he won fair and square, but Regal screwed him. So then he got in this match and he loses, and he's like, "What the hell? I did fair square. I want to be a heel now."
And the whole thing was stupid because at first I'm like, that's dumb that the title changes hands on a DQ. Then you look up the official rules and it says, oh, it does change hands on a DQ.
Nope, it's a gray area.
And then Ava goes, no, it doesn't change hands. I'm giving it back. And
she didn't even say it doesn't. It's a gray area.
And then he wins it anyways.
Direct words.
Dumb stuff. Then it was the main event match, because God forbid they get the actual main event spot. But it's Trick Williams, Oba Femi, Eddie Thorpe. So I noted the entrance for Trick here is pretty fantastic, and then Oba too. I don't know where they were, but the stage and the lighting is great. Lots of lasers, lots of really looked good. So it's just Trick and Oba for a lot of this because Thorpe has been taken out. He's nowhere to be seen. And then we see him at some point in the match. They show him backstage limping down the hallway with a chair. Trick hits a middle rope avalanche, rock bottom. Looked pretty good. We get a nice sequence where they trade strikes. It was like a forearm from Femi that was solid. Pump kick from Trick. Trick came out ahead on that exchange. Femi hits a pop-up slap to the chest because you know how he generally does it while they're on the apron. So he's found a way to do that in the ring, I think. Trick counters into a DDT and a nice spinning boot, and the crowd's chanting, "This is awesome." Trick charges at Femi, gets run over, takes a power bomb. Ref counts as Thorpe, who I'd almost forgotten because I was kind of into the action, which is a compliment. Kind of forgot about Thorpe. He drags the ref out.
Trick for once.
Drags the ref out at the last second to stop that. Femi then dominates Thorpe for a bit, but gets taken out by a sudden Trick knee. And then I thought the finish was interesting. I told you already. So Femi's trying to get to his feet in the middle of the ring. Trick is in one corner loading up for another Trick knee, and Thorpe's in the other corner with his steel chair ready to attack. So Trick charges at Femi with the knee. Femi moves. It gets the Trick knee into the chair into Thorpe. So Thorpe's taken out, and obviously Trick is weakened because he just jammed his knee into a chair, and that leads to an immediate power bomb from Femi, and Femi takes the title. So, this over-delivered for me substantially, way above the average Trick Williams match, and a bit surprising because it was mostly Trick and Femi's not like a seasoned ring veteran, although I like him.
I do think he's good.
Some of the action, while it was just Femi and Trick, was really good. I actually thought the finish was well done. It transfers the title from Trick and kind of protects him a little bit because it took a chair shot, basically, right? Femi continues to impress. I knew he was winning the title, but I think my prediction was
you'd wait out till
it waited out and get one-on-one with them, and then he wins. So they decided to shift it here
because I just want him to be champion.
And yes, Thorpe's role was minimal, but still really important. And I thought that's a fine way because he's not going to win this. He's doing a different character. Yeah. Let's give him a cup of coffee at the top of the card, right? Like I thought a pretty smart use.
I could see him beating Tony D if you want to give him some stuff to do, right?
Since Tony D's a face because he's a mobster that kills people and abducts people.
As you do.
So I thought the opener and main event of this show felt kind of important and provided good matches, 2 major title changes. Too bad the stuff in between wasn't better. Yeah. And the stuff after, since we get a gigantic Rock promo. Dude, it was so bad I almost got you to watch it. I would love to see the WWE like hardcores telling me how this was good. His entrance took, I think, over 3 minutes because I scrubbed through it so I could see the time. Nice reaction from the live crowd, not gonna lie. He talks about saying he was mean to Cody last year. Then he shills for Netflix and talks more about Cody this year. I don't understand. The crowd is mostly silent until he hits his catchphrases, right? Then he literally seems to like gap out and get lost. He gets told clearly he only has 2 more minutes, and then I think because he was lost and rambling and ate up time. So then he's like, F all that. And he recovers a little bit and puts over NXT before just hitting his...
NXT was just like floundering without the Rock's endorsement.
Well, clearly the ratings, I guess, were probably him. And then he hits his catchphrase to end it. So I thought this was mostly terrible. Is there something about NXT that makes the Rock family unable to perform? Like, I mean,
he wasn't great on Raw either.
He's usually... obviously really good on the mic, but it felt like he got lost, then tried to freestyle. That freestyle ate up time. Nobody was interested. He recovered, shilled for NXT for a little bit, hit the key talking points, hit a catchphrase, and left. I was a little bit stunned by how disorganized and bad this was for a guy who has that is his thing. He was never known for being Daniel Bryan in the ring, but the guy is electrifying, right, on the mic.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was garbage, and I would love to see all the WWE fans talking about
people who like... I mean, I haven't seen anyone like it, to
into a pretzel about how this was awesome.
I haven't seen anyone have to do that yet.
On Raw, he did nothing. Out of character, just a shill, just doing corporate stuff. And on NXT, he just strolled out and went, I'm going to freestyle this. Got lost. The crowd was silent. I don't know, man. It was not good.
Maybe that's why WWE scripts stuff.
But anyways, I do not need. I always say I don't want main roster on my NXT. NXT is my little treasure that they need to keep that away from.
When it was black and gold, it was
Right.
too. So that's the thing.
And that is all I had. Did you have anything from SmackDown that was pressing?
I most of the time I even forget it's there.
Any figure stuff this week?
No.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up, and that's fine because you got to get to work in a little bit, and I've got to get to a basketball game a bit later. So thanks for joining us. We're going to wrap up episode 233 here. We'll definitely be back for 234, not 233. My
this
mistake.
Is 234 or this
is 234.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll be back for the one after that. I'm no math major, but I think it's 235.
Maybe.
Well, you can check your calculators later. But anyways, thanks for taking some time out of your week to listen to us ramble about wrestling. We'll see you back here next Saturday for 235. And until then, everybody, take care.